Yo, 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 hello, 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 and welcome to your Aunties Could Never family gathering. Your favorite aunties have arrived, and now the party can start. I'm Auntie AK, and I'm here at the party with
Auntie Farah,
Auntie Nana,
and Auntie Shady.
Hi, my ladies. How are you? How are you? How are you?
Good. Not as good as you, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very, very good. As you can see, I've got new settings, people. I'm in Ghana, and it's lovely. And my wonderful cousin is hosting me, and it's lovely. It's been lovely.
Like you have that Ghana glow, like you're shining.
Yeah, literally.
Like already. I love it.
The sun is seeped into my bones.
Some people might be hating, but
sorry, I don't know what you're saying, Auntie Farah. I don't, it's an audio show as well. We don't know what you're saying, pointing to.
Can the people who are not, can the people in this country please tell the other person on this podcast to stop? I find it offensive.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I would find it offensive if it wasn't me.
I have one more question though. Is it shining, or is it like hazy days?
No, it's sun shining. I've not been out. Do you know? I haven't been in peak daytime. I've been out late afternoon, but it's sunshine. I was working outside on the veranda, and the sun was beaming down.
I love it. I cannot wait. I swear to God.
One of my biggest problems in London is that I can't stretch the plug to work on it in the dead balcony. But now I have a veranda. I can now work on the veranda in the sunshine because there's a plug behind me. My cousin was like, "Darling, why don't you go outside and work on the veranda?" So I did work on the veranda.
I hope all the mosquitoes come and bite you.
How dare you! I've had one. I'm hoping I don't take it. That was evil, Faz. Look, I've got one bite, but I hope that's
really?
Go on, scratch it. Prove my theory.
So wicked. She wants me to get rottenly eaten. Anyway, let's get cracking.
Really? I don't.
I know you don't.
But I'm gonna.
It'd been lucky if you look all here.
I'm literally gonna openly hate. So
no, it's fine. I prefer you to hate in front of me. Okay, let's go. The party's about to start. Get your plates, get your drinks. We're about to start the show. Auntie Farah, let's go with the game.
Okay. Would you rather? Okay. Would you rather not have for the rest of your life sex, takeaway, your smartphone, or Netflix?
Netflix.
Not for the rest of my life.
Yeah, one has to go forever.
Takeaway.
Say them all.
Sex, takeaway, your smartphone, or Netflix?
Oh yeah, Netflix.
Netflix easily.
What? Over takeaway?
Because I don't live on takeaway, but imagine if like you need food in an emergency, you can't get food ever. It is like if you wanted something to eat, and you could, and then Netflix, you can always find a way to watch every show.
No, definitely.
And there's so much more now than Netflix. It's like Apple TV.
I barely watch Netflix.
Amazon Prime. It's like, I could do without I can't do without takeaway.
Okay. All right, we're different people, isn't it?
I think takeaway.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I could do without takeaway.
Definitely.
I should do without takeaway. Bloody hell. Do you know
the thing? It's like in an emergency. Okay. I don't eat that much takeaway. That's why I'm like, but then I feel like in an emergency, I'd hate that I wouldn't be able to get it. The one time that I want to get it, then I can't.
But aren't there other ways?
But technically, all food's taken away because you take it away and make the ingredients at home.
That's the thing. So how expensive is this takeaway? What does it mean? You can't get any shopping anywhere. You can't take away shopping from anywhere.
Once they send it to you, is that taking it away?
It's takeaway.
That's takeaway.
Yeah,
that's delivery.
Groceries. I mean, groceries being delivered to you.
Yeah, because you can also get groceries on takeaway as well. So if you run out of like an essential food, you can't go to get Co-op online or anything like that.
I would literally pay my sister to cook for me. Like I would invest in a deep freezer and I'd have Please stop for months. Honestly.
Okay, what's the next one?
Right. Next one. Seeing as we're coming up to Christmas, you can only have one. Christmas or your birthday for the rest of your life.
Oh, mate.
Christmas.
Well, you'd
Yeah.
have Christmas and not your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my birthday, if it's, I can celebrate the next day. If it's not my birthday, because the next day I can be like,
No, you can't have a birthday. So it's not like, oh, it's my birthday on Friday, I'm going to celebrate it on Saturday. You cannot have a birthday. That's it.
okay, then Christmas. Well, I don't. It's not.
Oh, go on.
Yeah. No, go on.
No, I'm gonna definitely get rid of Christmas, mate. I need my birthday. It's my own personal New Year. It's my time. I can celebrate other people on their birthdays too. So yeah.
How do they stop you from celebrating?
I mean, I can see that traveling to Ghana hasn't made you any less annoying in this section.
Because you said that you can't. It just says.
Off!
You said Christmas or birthday. Yeah. It doesn't say. It doesn't tell you the rules, so I can
Should we rewind the tape? I said,
yeah,
you can only have one for the rest of your life, either Christmas or your birthday.
She did say that.
I know, I heard that.
So then, what is confusion?
But you said I can't celebrate because it doesn't say the birthday of the actual day.
Don't
it doesn't say
about. Don't fuck about. Yeah,
telling the truth.
No,
Don't
try it.
Because a week after, anyway,
what did you choose?
I said that I can forego. I've changed my mind. I can forego Christmas.
Okay.
I want to keep
Me
my
too.
birthday.
I can do without Christmas, but I gotta have my birthday because that's my day. My day.
This was just a man-made holiday. I was actually like birthed on my birthday, so yeah, I'm going with my birthday. That's real.
Yeah,
because I feel like everyone gets together at Christmas and it's a good old family time. I like the family of it all. My birthday, I don't always get to see everybody, so in the family,
do like New Year's. You could do Easter.
On New Year's, we don't do that. We
your own day. Family day on September the 8th. Like you just make one up.
Make it.
But
like
the way that I'm not allowed to
pretend,
so I could make a day and say this is a celebration day, but secretly it's my birthday.
Not if you're saying that it's your birthday. No.
Can we have the next one, please?
Say celebration day.
Last one. Right, you have to give up one. Sleep, social life, or your career.
I've got to give it up for what?
Yeah. Just
you can't. If you don't sleep, you're dead. Like,
all right, good sleep. Good, getting a good night's sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, good sleep.
I like the way the boundaries are pushed there. Good night's sleep.
Because that's a sensible question. Sade,
I mean,
is it sleep in a bed or is it sleeping anywhere?
No, I would have said what kind
of. Can I have a cat nap? Or
good night's sleep?
I'm never allowed to sleep ever. Like, what is it?
Like, you want to expand, please.
I heard it as sleep. I just heard sleep, but yet you were allowed to flout the boundaries of what sleep is. I heard it as sleep.
I was just helping the group.
So Sade, which one would you choose?
I think because I generally don't sleep well anyway, I'm just gonna say sleep because that's the easiest. But like, I think I've worked really hard to have a near enough normal social life, and I can never ever give up my career. Like, no way. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, career, because I don't actually really believe that I'm here to work in any capacity. I think that's not what human existence is for, and I've been duped. So I would gladly give that up and just, rest on my laurels and make shit happen different ways, but not necessarily every single day I have to work to pay bills.
Did you pick one?
I was inclined to say career too. Something about it makes, something around those lines. Or because of my particular career, it involves socializing, so I could sidewind. So I'm choosing. So I have a career. Okay, I'll get rid of socializing because I can find a way around it.
No, because no, we're not doing this.
I can. I
No.
can.
She did give an answer this time, though.
No, but she's trying it.
Can.
She's chucking
But
it.
the thing is, why? Hold on, wait. My career includes socializing by default, and that's my career. So you can't. So that's my career. You didn't say like there's no. My career is
socializing for your career, and there's having a social life.
Exactly. So my social life is gone because I can get some element of socializing through my career. Thank you. That's not
Well, then clarification is great, isn't it?
Well, that's what I freaking said.
I could do without sleep because I do without sleep anyway. So boy,
same.
I do, this is my life now. And if it meant that I had more of a social life, then bring that shit on. I'd enjoy that.
I don't know why you don't want no sleep.
It's
Even
not one, it's just reality. Like,
exactly.
I don't sleep
at all.
I would love to. I would love to have more sleep, but it's not happening.
Okay, let's go. Who are we welcoming to the family, Auntie Nana?
Okay, I am welcoming Mina Smallman. She became the first female Church of England archdeacon from a Black or ethnic minority background in 2013. Now she's a retired Anglican priest and school teacher. Mina Smallman has been campaigning to make UK streets safer and to reform the police. Last year, 2 of her daughters were murdered in a park, and Smallman criticised the police handling of the initial missing persons call and said that her girls might have been victims of racial profiling and classism. She also went on to say she has forgiven her daughter's killer, and when you hold hatred for somebody, it's not only them that you are held, and you are also held captive. And so I refuse to give him that power. I just loved watching her give a talk to the press after the policemen were actually given short sentences for sharing pictures of her daughters, and just her strength as well. I think this woman is absolutely phenomenal and a real just beacon of kind of like that Black female grit that's out there. Like I just admire her so much and welcome her to the family with open arms and pure love. And I hope that she finds peace in what must have been like a tragedy for her and her family.
Welcome.
Yeah, no, welcome, definitely.
Okay, what have you heard, guys? This is where we get into a news story from the past week or today and we break it down and discuss it. Auntie Sade, what have you heard?
Yeah, I'm totally ready. What have I heard? So what I've heard is freaking annoying news, basically. So some of us, like, we celebrate this thing called Dirty December, yeah, where we leave the cold UK in the middle of winter and we go to usually like our home country or a neighboring country that tends to be hot and tend to have a lot of fun, right? So just usually over the Christmas, New Year period. And as it's been locked down, obviously a lot of people didn't go last year. So a lot of people missed out. So 2021, it's supposed to be the dirtiest of Decembers, yeah? but the government are trying to suck all the joy out of everything by introducing this new red list. So red list countries are basically countries that if you come back to the UK, then you have to quarantine in a UK quarantine hotel for I think 10 days at the cost of roughly £2,000, over £2,000, and you've got no choice. So people that are either coming from those countries to maybe spend Christmas with their family in the UK or have been on holiday in those countries need to come back to do this. And what they frigging done, so first of all, they put South Africa on this list because of the Omarian variant. Basically, they said that, that they was the one that spotted the case. We talked about this last week. So check out that episode. They're the ones that spotted it, but then they punished them for letting everybody know and put them on the list. Then they also put, I'm going to read out some names, Namibia, Angola, Botswana, I can't say Estonian, something I can't say that. Sorry, Lesotho, Mozambique, Maori, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. They were also on the list. Then, obviously, we're upset and sad about those people, those countries, of course, kind of thing. And then, out of fucking nowhere, they put Nigeria on the list. Just like, let's do it. Black Twitter was up in arms, because it's just like, hold on a second, there's no cases there. No one's reporting any cases there at all. Like, it just seemed so random. And people going to Nigeria, obviously it's a massive country. You've got a massive population here in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people go back, you know, over that period of time. And it just seemed like, nah, this seems real targeted. That's what it seems. Because all of the countries on that list are majority Black countries. They're African countries. And it's like the Amari variant has been found in the Netherlands. It's been found in, was it Germany as well, kind of thing? I think, don't quote me on that. It's been found in Europe. It's been found in the States. It's been found in, you know, Asia. So why aren't those countries on the list? Why is it only African countries on the list? So that red list was seeming to be a bit of a blacklist. And like, I personally feel attacked by Nigeria being on the list. So I just wanted to know, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a racist list? Do you think there's some underlying reasons that we might not know about, or why these countries have been added to this list? I'm actually quite grateful that Ghana is not on the list, and it needs to stay off the frigging list and bun those people that are saying Ghana is going to go on the list, bun them all. But yeah, what do you guys think? You can tell I'm quite passionate about this one. What do you guys think?
Auntie Farah.
Boy, you know what I think. This is big politics. That's what this is. It's a blatant politics. Like, let's be real. What the UK government doesn't tell people a lot of the time is that it's you lot that are banned. Yeah? So I remember when they put a lot of the Caribbean countries, for example, Grenada, on the red list. But what they didn't tell people was that you're on the red list. You couldn't go Grenada even if you wanted to, because they said you're not welcome because you've got COVID cases. We're all right here. We're doing okay. You've got COVID cases. So it's just another way of them, I don't know, showing their authority, trying to make out like they're doing things properly. And, you know, they're just not. I said it last week. 1 minute you've got it reported that you've got the least number of COVID cases in the entire world in the African continent. And then the next minute you've got Britain banning all of these African countries. And how can you ban Nigeria when they don't have any cases? But you don't ban the countries that are surrounding Nigeria. It's because it doesn't make any sense. It's all about finances. Somewhere down the line, this has got to do with money. Somewhere down the line, Nigeria is doing their thing and England don't like it. That's what it really comes down to. South Africa, they're not the only ones to have these cases, like you said, Auntie Sade. It's been found in all of these other countries in Europe. How come Scottish people can still come and go? Wasn't it found in Scotland? Yeah. Was it a number of cases found in Scotland? And these people in Scotland hadn't actually travelled nowhere. The other thing that let's talk about that has been the case all the time, like we can go to America now, right? How many cases are in America?
Right.
And what they're not telling you is that in America, all of these cases, people still catch COVID even though they've been vaccinated. So yes, whilst America is saying you have to be vaccinated to come to certain places and this, that, and the other, we all know it doesn't actually stop you from catching COVID. And in terms of when you take your PCR test, you might be all right today, but tomorrow you might not be all right. That's been proven as well. So this doesn't really make any sense. So you have to wonder what kind of politics are these lot playing out? And yes, it is racist as far as I'm concerned, because if you're not going to ban the Netherlands, and you're not going to ban Scotland or any of these other countries that have been found to have these cases and, you know, this new variant, why are you only banning these African countries? What is that about? Something tells me as well it might have something to do with the fact that all of us want to leave this country during Christmas and go home, but the COVID cases, this is my tin hat now, the COVID cases are rising here. And who is at the forefront of the healthcare? Which type of people are at the forefront of healthcare? You've got black people on the ground, haven't you? So if you've got black people on the ground, how do we stop them from going home and being able to help us when we're in hospitals. I know, let's put their country on the list.
Could you imagine?
Like I said,
I mean,
it's true.
seriously.
So what, would you put it past? I actually wouldn't put it past them, not at all. We can't tell them they can't go on holiday, but what do? Let's make it so they can't come back. Telling you, they're up to it's politics, man. It's trickery.
Nana.
Picking up from what you guys have said, last week I did mention this, but I think I can't remember specifically what your responses were, but I think it was more on being locked down in Ghana. But I was actually talking about this is what they usually do. It starts off South Africa and they work their way up westwards. I'm not hoping that Ghana makes its way on the red list, but I do think people should be making provisions or protesting enough so that this travel apartheid actually gets stopped, because at least there's other countries saying that this is wrong, that the UK have created this list. Like they are pointing out that it doesn't quite make any sense for how many cases there are and how many cases there are in Europe, with multiple strands of it kind of expanding and people haven't traveled anywhere. So you can't directly say that it was brought in through traveling if they haven't had any contact with people traveling. And you also know that viruses, just the law of physics, it's like once a variant takes place somewhere in the world, it can actually pop up another place in the world without there being any contact. And they know all of this as well. And we don't even know if it's more deadly than the Delta variant or original COVID-19. Like, they don't know enough to be putting these travel bans in place, other than you want to economically destabilize these regions. And the fact that it's constantly in the news that they don't understand why COVID-19 hasn't ravaged Africa in some way, this feels like, so because there hasn't been the death, that you want to financially have some ravaging in Africa so that you can go in there and swoop up and start doing some crazy loans or some building stuff. It's like you just want this area to be so destabilized so that you can make more money off of it. It's really frustrating, because it's like, what can you do when you come back into this country? Are there ways that you don't have to go to this quarantine hotel? Because it looks like jail. When you look at the pictures of the food, it's disgusting. It's like, I would never, you can't get this $2,000 out of me to pay to stay in a jail cell. But I think that's criminal in itself, and I'd be prepared to like fight it in court. Like, you can send me fines and whatever, and like we can battle it out in court, whether it is fair or contrary to my human rights, that you are making me quarantine in a hotel that is overpriced and you're giving me shit food and I can't pick where I'm staying. Like, that just seems like it should be illegal to be able to do that to citizens.
Yeah, this man.
Like, really, what can you do?
That's the part that I'm honing in on, because I'm seeing a lot of stories about people who come back, like, had their flights cancelled and being forced to return to these places, and they literally look like immigration detention centers. Yep. It's mad. I think everything you guys just said, it stinks of racism, and it seems like, and it's like just the irritation. Like, is this petty irritation that because it hasn't been ravaged Africa? What's your problem? Like, you've already colonized and you've already got your tentacles into this continent. So why are you now trying to do even more sanctions and stuff like that? It's very, very strange. Don't know why. I understand that if it was blanket bans for all the countries that have reported it, then no one can argue. But it's the fact that you're cherry picking which countries that you're banning and other ones, because what is it? Trade deals? Is it relationship building? All this politics and all that type of stuff? It's nonsense. I was thinking that if I was to ever have to, how would I resist paying? Because I don't have it. So what do you do? What do you do if you actually don't have it?
Oh no, it becomes a debt. So there are people that are like, I don't have it, and then it turns into a debt, and you may do a payment plan to pay it off, or like they just come after you to get.
Well, that would be my thing, because the forever play. Listen, I remember the days of being super broke and on benefits. So them days there when you're paying 2p a month or whatever, because it's whatever you can afford. Then you'd be damned if you get the money off me like that. But anyway, Auntie Sade.
Yeah, I don't think I would stay there. I would stay in the country that I'm in until it goes onto the amber list. I'll probably have to do that because I'm not gonna. So like that would I don't know that's a special kind of rage that I live here. Do you know what I mean? And you're making me stay in this hotel and eating this shit food, and there's nothing I can do. Imagine if there was shit Wi-Fi as well. Like I would just go insane. There's just no. It's not possible. So I'll stay in the sunny, hot country that I'll be in, and make provisions there. Worst case scenario, I'll create a GoFundMe or something. People are just gonna have to help me out. Do you know what I mean? My troubling times. But yeah, I just think it's outrageous. I think it's absolutely outrageous. I agree, Auntie. Okay, I think it's definitely some sort of like refusal to cooperate with a trade deal or something along those lines, kind of thing, and just getting punished for it. And that kind of shit needs to just stop. Like I do feel, you know, I think my immediate family are here at the moment, do you know what I mean, kind of thing. So I'm happy that no one got caught up in that and stuff. But for many people, that's not the case, and it's just it's just actually heartbreaking that they could do this to people around Christmas time as well, kind of thing. It's just awful, and they should be bloody ashamed of themselves. I cannot wait until the power shift. Like it will always shift. Do you know what I mean? I cannot wait until that thing. I will be laughing in the UK government's face. I really will. Yes.
Did you guys hear about the plane? I think it's a British Airways.
Yes.
From Nigeria that was supposed to land on Sunday, and they cancelled the flight and didn't tell anybody. So they all turned up, and then they rescheduled it to leave after the time so that they all have to go into quarantine. If you get on that plane. Yeah. So it's like that's families that you know, you're all like, okay, we're coming back. This is, and then if you really are like, I actually have to come back. I really do have to come back. You have to quarantine. That to me is a scam. Like that's scamming. It's
definitely a scam. This whole thing is a scam because how are you forcing people into a hotel? You can easily, you got that track and trace. Why does track and trace not work? Like,
and also, I think it's like I don't 100% quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's a Tory minister that owns the hotel, or his family. Yes. Where everyone's staying.
Yes, it's been like that a long time. Yeah.
It's out of fucking order. That shouldn't be allowed. Do you know what I mean?
You know what it is?
They're the same people that have. Sorry, I was just going to say they're the same people that have hands in all the PCR tests and stuff.
This is what Trump used to do. In terms of like, if you want to meet with him, you have to stay at his hotel. Do you know what I mean? First, and like, you know, countries, they would book out like a week of like 5 hotels or 5 rooms or something. Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily stay there, but like it's just a way to get money out of people, basically.
Exactly. And I think they bank on people being so like not knowing the law, not knowing their rights, or not having the energy to not push it. Because the average person doesn't have time to go to court and start doing suing and stuff like that. But I bet for those of us who, if you run into this situation, if you pushed it a little further and got a decent lawyer who would just pick at the layers, you probably would win your case. Because there's no way. Because how is it legal that a politician can have a stake in the hotel? That you've got people, it just morally is wrong. So I'm sure if you had the energy to really pursue the case, you would come away with something. I'm not a lawyer, I don't have legal qualification or anything, but it just seems improper and indecent. So I just don't see how it can be completely legal.
Wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
I agree. Something has gone wrong.
Something has gone wrong.
The Google Home decided to come on.
Let's get the comments.
Sure. So hi everybody. Hey Ronald, Mr. Tang. I think that's for the first round the game. And Ronald says it's Omicron, not Omarion. I do actually know that. I was just playing. But I think Omarion sounds better.
Yeah. And Omicron's a bit hard to say, like
it is.
And we still don't know, is it Omicron or Omicron? I've heard some people say, like, it's got different pronunciations. We all know how to say Omarion, and he doesn't mind, apparently, allegedly.
Probably because his record sales have gone up.
You know?
So it's true. People started listening to his songs again.
Yeah,
like,
Exactly. All right. So, Auntie AK, what have I heard? Well, it's a really sad story about a young boy called Arthur Labinjo-Hughes. His dad and the dad's partner have been found guilty of killing this young 6-year-old. And again, it's another one of those cases of the social services not potentially doing their job. You know, there was concerns about his care. I mean, his own birth mother was convicted of murdering her partner in the beginning stage, you know, and then he was handed over to custody of his dad, and the dad's partner, Emma Tristan, tortured the little boy, and to the point where he ended up dead. And again, it's that, you know, there were concerns raised to social services. They did that whole thing where they came around and checked and decided nothing was wrong, and then left him to the hands of these evil people. Emma Tristan has been given more of a conviction because she's the one who's been executing more of the torture, and his father, Thomas Hughes, has been found guilty of manslaughter because he was an enabler rather than actually enacting any or an extensive amount of punishment and torture. I kind of just wanted to talk about this, but I mean, this has happened before. Actually, yeah, there was on a news, one of the breakfast shows, an expert came on and said, you know, had the cheek to say that the grandmother should have called the police if she suspected something. So kind of shifting the responsibility. And I think it was Good Morning Britain, and Susanna Reeves was like, are you actually trying to blame the grandmother who should have contacted? She thought she was doing the right thing by contacting social services. It's social services who should have called, you know, inactive, because basically the expert was saying that once you report it to the police, it triggers off a general investigation. And, you know, Susanna was like, that's not on the grandmother. I think the grandmother took pictures of the bruises and stuff and kind of provided them as information. And then, you know, it's just all nonsense. I guess I just wanted your thoughts. How do we improve social services? Is it someone not doing their job, or is it literally genuinely in the moment hard to actually say, you know, just like, this child is in danger, remove them from? Maybe there's a process that we don't understand where it's actually hard to get a child removed from the home. I know there's lots of obstacles and paperwork that come with that, but how can so I would think, I'd look at a situation, I would think, without being a qualified social worker, see a child, look like that, see that they're in danger, and remove them from the home. But what are your thoughts, Auntie Sade?
So yeah, I wouldn't unless there is the child is in immediate care. I wouldn't even think to call the police straight away. Actually, I'd think to call for an ambulance if I'm seeing the child hurt, and also reporting to social services. I don't know why. I think that's probably just what we're taught at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're the people that deal with like child abuse issues, and not the police, actually. Do you know what I mean? Or it goes through them. So I would probably have done the same thing. I mean, like, commend her for actually even reporting it. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't, and they kind of just keep it in the family and they don't say a word, you know, kind of thing, or they think they can solve it themselves. But she actually took, and I think it was both the grandmothers separately done that, if I'm not mistaken, that I when I was reading about it. I just think it's just awful. Like, I can't even. It's just evil, just pure evil, basically, just on so many different levels. It's just like it seems like a breeding ground for it. I don't know how, you know, as a father, he can watch those kind of things being done to his own son, and then, yeah, I just think, yeah, some people shouldn't be allowed to have kids. To be honest, I hope they. What's the word? I hope they get. I don't know if they've been sentenced yet. Have they been sentenced?
Yeah.
Oh, they have. Okay. Yeah. How much did they get? Do you know?
The woman got 29 years and the father got 22 years.
Nah, dude, that's even mad. You should just get more. They should
definitely life, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. I heard that they're trying to change, or if they have done already, like put in a law, Arthur's law, so child murderers do get life, and they should get life. Yeah, I just can't imagine him being removed from his mother in the first place and be put in this kind of scenario to suffer again. Do you know what I mean? And to end a life of suffering. It's just, yeah, it's just heartbreaking, to be honest.
Yeah. Auntie Nana.
Yeah, no, echo the same. It definitely is so heartbreaking. I actually really agree with whoever was on Good Morning Britain. First reading about this, I was like, that grandmother should be up as well, because they lived at the bottom of her house in the annex. So she's actually like on site and would have seen it. And I think the police should have been called. Like, once you're hearing things going on, I think getting the police involved would have escalated it a bit quicker than social services, because they don't come immediately. And so bruises that may have been there before, like that day, and then they come maybe 4 or 5 days later, they may have been healed. And if the boy is too scared to talk as well, there's only so much social services can do, because they are not immediately there like the police. So I think she absolutely should have called the police. And I also feel that she should bear a bit of the responsibility for not doing anything. This is family. And I think she should have removed the child in whichever capacity she had, whether the boy lives with her in the house, or you call the police and you go to social services and you tell them they are not fit to look after this child. Like, she needed to do more. And because she didn't do more other than calling social services, I think she is also responsible, because this was on her property. So I really do think that she should have also been punished for this. It's just the saddest thing that this boy loses his mother already, and then the horrific circumstances of that situation, that she stabbed her boyfriend. So who knows what situation he was in before then with his mother. Then he goes to his dad's, and you're still not safe. It's just for one little person to be living in these tortured circumstances. The world failed him tragically, and it's just so sad. But I really do think that the grandmother should be bearing some of the blame to this loss of life.
Auntie Farah.
Firstly, it's such a heartbreaking and tragic situation to think what this little boy experienced during the course of his short life. All round, from everyone around him, people who are supposed to be there to raise and love and trust. You're supposed to trust them. That's their one job, isn't it? To protect him, and they didn't protect him. Instead they inflicted pain on him. So rest in peace to him. In terms of social services, it's very difficult, because social services are, I don't know if they have the funding that they need and the support that they need. And there is often times with social services where they get involved with people and families when they shouldn't. We've heard it in our community. People have been, social services have paid them visits for minor things where they shouldn't have wasted their time. They should have maybe been looking into areas like this. And I suppose it's a cultural thing as well. Not in this case, obviously, but certainly in our community, it is a cultural thing of, you can't always tell what is right and what is wrong, in terms of, you can't see bruises. And I think when it comes to domestic violence and violence on kids and things like that, you don't always see, it's not always physical. Sometimes it's physical in the purest sense of it. It's not always someone's been beaten. Sometimes they've just been starved, or they've been shaken. There's so many different ways, and there's so many different things. And other problem is that they don't have enough time when they go to these people. Mm-hmm. As you said, Auntie Nana, they might go there 1 week and then not go there again, because they've got 100 other cases that they need to go and pay attention to. And then when they go to these other cases, they're looking for, clear points. And if people are not hitting those markers, then it will progress. And if they are, then it's, well, they seem fine. So I don't know. The actual organization itself needs to be looked at, because there's been too many cases of little people dying as a result of violence from their parents or from family friends. And it's just something somewhere has to be done. I mean, this has been going on for a very, very long time. And I think that organization needs to be looked at, whether it's that people need better training, or, as I said, they need more funding or more people, but something has to happen. In terms of the grandmother, and I think she probably feels fucking guilty enough, to be honest with you. I don't know if she should be charged as well, because we don't even know what this boy was doing to her. If you're gonna be around and see certain, for all we know, he could be like a psychotic type person that's beating up his mum too. I don't know. It's like there's so many things that we don't know. For you to be able to do this to a little kid, who's your mum? You know, who are these people around you? Who are you really listening to? Maybe she was scared to call the police. Maybe some people as well, they really do put their faith in the system. And as Auntie Sade said, this is what we're kind of taught to do. You call social services when there's a child involved and you leave it to them to look into and to investigate. I don't know.
I mean, reading a couple of stories about it, the maternal grandparents are praising the paternal grandparents and saying that because they said that they did a really good job, and police were notified, social service had been notified, and even neighbors had stepped in to voice their concerns, and they were ignored. So I don't know I know in some situations, yeah, it can be because there's a family network and some people are turning a blind eye, and definitely, in some, whether it's cultural, traditional, or even just, community, family loyalty, there's lots of weight placed on family loyalty and stuff like that. So it's hard to kind of this is something's not right here. Some people might find it difficult to speak out about certain things, but it does seem that the maternal grandparents aren't angry at the paternal grandparents, and they said that they did the best. Someone, who is it, the former head of Ofsted, said this is, generally they're saying this is like a school education thing, it's police and it's social services, and the three institutions don't work well together in cases of child protection. And those of us who've been in the system before, when it comes to housing, I remember back in the day when I was on benefits, it's like, how have you got the benefits team, the housing team, this team, the tax team, and none of them speak to each other? And the only time they come together is when you owe them money. Then everyone all of a sudden knows your business. But when you want to get a through line of communication to sort something out, they're all like, "Well, we're not of that department. We don't." The whole social support system is so broken in this country, and I guess in Western, a lot of countries, to be fair, that the social support system is terrible. So they don't communicate with each other well. Because even what was going on in school, what was the teachers seeing? Where is the chink in the chain? Where is the broken link in all of this? So, and I definitely think it's financial resources, as always, and not enough care, especially when it comes to working class people. When you don't have the means, like we're talking about this, if you want to sue the hotel system, whatever, when you're getting off a plane or whatever, quarantine system, people don't have the energy or the wherewithal or the knowledge. And I definitely think, like what Auntie Sade said, we're not taught to think about the police in this situation unless it's fatal or really bad. You think social services, you think child protection, and maybe a school teacher, but you don't necessarily think about the police. So it's really having that education and a through line to, who do I call when I think when I suspect a child is in danger? And how do we maintain that constant visibility and constant, because it is interesting, what did social services do when they turned up and said this child is okay? What happened there? So it's horrible all round. Yeah, man.
But I hope there will be a thorough report that comes out that we can all kind of read up on as well, because I think it's important to know what the systems and checks are. I'm thinking of my neighbor at the moment. They fight constantly, and when their children were younger, we would call the police. But again, even in saying that, nothing has really ever been done. Like, nobody goes anywhere, and sometimes we literally are like, the ambulance is gonna come. Like, the thudding, and it's just like, it can't be that nobody is hurt in this house. But who knows, like, when the police go in, they seem to be there for a few minutes and then they leave again, and it's just it's a constant. It's a hard one. But I do think, as a grandparent, maybe just if I was that boy, I would want one of my grandparents to remove me from this situation.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's okay to have 4 grandparents alive and nobody took me out of there. So whether it's within their conscious that they're feeling shit, I think it's deserved, personally. But from this child's point of view, somebody needed to remove him. It's not okay for it to even go to the state when there are family around. I don't think that's okay. And I would do that for anybody in my family. If I'm seeing something going on and I don't think the person is safe, I will take them on. It's like, how would I live with myself if the person died?
But you know,
And
there's
all I
that
did was
Surprised though. You'll be surprised because, like, from someone who's been through like I don't even know what to call it, like a very difficult childhood, being physically, emotionally, mentally abused, like you wouldn't people. It's kind of like it's idealistic, really and truly. That's what it is, because the reality is how humans operate. And I've done a lot of work on like trying to understand this myself, because people could clearly see that I wasn't doing okay as a child. Like it was very evident. And they tell themselves a different story. They tell themselves that they can't help, or maybe it's not as bad as they think, or maybe, do you know what I mean? Like, or it's not going to last for long, or someone else is going to step in, or someone's going to say something, or they believe the lie that the adult is telling them. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, when I was young, I had my school intervene, my social services. At one age, I was running away constantly. Do you know what I mean? The police would bring me home. I would be calling childline, but no one did anything. Like not to an extent where it removed me from the situation. Yeah. I had to remove myself when I got old enough. Do you know what I mean? And that was obviously it wasn't easy. And I left home at 15, 16. Do you know what I mean? So like, but in my younger years, no, the adults around me did not want to, from what I could understand as a child, like believe actually what's happening. And
so
I think
even like school as well.
Sorry,
school was. I think this is interesting because then it's like you have an inside perspective, literally. Like, so school, when you're going into school and they're getting involved, what is getting involved? Are they go into social services like we think there should be?
I think they have so much. Then they had to, I don't know what it is now, but if they see something and there's a pattern of behavior, then they have to contact social services and they try and work it out with your parents. And like I had like a kind of like a caseworker or like and the school nurse would talk to me or take me out of class sometimes and things like that. But I didn't leave home. Do you know what I mean? Like that never happened. So it doesn't. I think that people only do something when it's absolutely extreme. So when someone actually, and also that they're aware of also as well, and that they believe you, right? Yeah. So you could tell them, okay, I lost consciousness, but doesn't necessarily mean that they believe you or they want to believe you or want to deal with that outcome of that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean?
This is what I was going to say, because a lot of times as well, for the adults that are involved in those situations, when you're telling them that there's a problem at home, if you're lucky enough to have someone that you trust, they don't necessarily believe you. And people that you think are going to be there, and you say this is going down, they don't necessarily believe you. And then it becomes a thing of, you're a child, they're the adult, respect the adult, respect your elders. That's what it becomes a thing of. And when the schools do get involved, sometimes it's quite easy for the parents to shut them down as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have, and then there's that back and forth. And the only time, as Auntie Sade said, that it becomes to a point where someone might intervene is when you're physically removed from that place. But that doesn't always happen as well. How often like you said, you left home at 15, 16. I left home early too. So it's kind of like things have to happen sometimes, and you have to deal with it on your own, because the people who you think are around to see don't see. But
definitely, it would have to be extreme. So like you would have to, I would imagine you would have to have like lose consciousness, be hospitalized. Do you know what I mean? For
social services to remove you.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Otherwise, it's
or if one of your parents is, an addict or something like that, and it's clear that they're an addict, and you get left alone, you don't get picked up and it's a pattern, as you said.
There's so much that happens without the authorities involved. You've got family members that get removed and sit with other family members with no paperwork, and it's just like
but then also it is like Auntie Sade said, sometimes the reality of taking on somebody else's child, people start thinking, well, I can't do this because I can barely live, I can barely survive. It's a big thing to take on somebody else's child, isn't it? So all those
if you think that you can't provide, if you don't think, if you haven't got the resources to give them a better life, even though you know that you're not going to abuse the child, you might, and it's a thing like, okay, maybe the few years time you can leave. I've definitely had conversations with people who've been in situations and like, yeah, like, look, get old enough, leave, get a hostel, all that type of stuff, because it's like there's no other outlet, and family members like, oh, that person hasn't got a room, that they've only got a small flat, they're on benefits themselves, or they're unemployed, or their job, they don't make enough money, so then they might be thinking that taking that child out of that situation to bring to mine might be worse. And if the child's already damaged, you already overthink about that, what kind of lifestyle you're going to provide that child. And it is back to everything you guys have said, believe in the child and maybe thinking, well, it can't be that bad. And it is being faced with it. It's a really hard thing to face. I think they were doing things like giving the child salted food, making them, punishing them, over punishing him. And it's the thing, like, especially if you think about if your family that comes from discipline and think, well, this discipline, we're just telling him off, and then you're just telling him off, you're just punishing him because he's been naughty. Because I don't know if you saw the police. There was when it happened, what's her name, Emma?
I saw the video.
The stepmother was saying, the stepmother was saying, oh, he's really, he pushed me down the stairs and he said that I'm not your mum, and she looked normal. And I mean, the only thing I was like, the child is 6. And I know children can be ratty brats, and they can be really stressful and troublesome. But the fact that he's had a mother that's been taken away from him, how much he knew about the mother's case in the situation, who knows? But it's unbelievable that this child could cause so much damage to himself. We know that you're messed up, but at the same time, on presentation, she looked normal, in quotes. Do you know what I mean? She seemed almost.
But then that's the problem as well. I think if a child is taken away from a parent, they should automatically be able to have therapy. Something should happen. But again, it comes down to government funding and the way that, the system works.
And class. They look like a working class family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you've gone through a traumatic experience in your life as a child, you should have therapy. It should just be standard. That's what happens.
Especially that type of a trauma. Yeah. Definitely. That should have kicked in immediately.
He should have had a personal social worker from that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would say that in my case, I didn't know a lot of things were not right until I was older. So this is until I was like in my early 20s, mid to late 20s, that kind of thing. Like I had no idea that was not normal behavior growing up, because there was like a code of kind of like silence that was
absolutely
what do you call it, and that was not just it was by my siblings as well, so no one talked about what was actually happening. So you had a behavior in the house and a different behavior outside the house, and that's like when that's ingrained to you as a child, it's you don't even know what you're not saying. You don't know what you're not saying.
Yeah.
So I just think it's just like it's a very like child abuse is a very, very complex thing. What watching that video, it was just like it was very triggering, because I was just like, yeah, you're acting normal.
But do you mean the stepmother when she's speaking to the police officer?
Afterwards, you're acting really normal, and I've definitely seen things like that before, where it's just like you can explain away, and it's easy to believe. So like I think it's really easy for social services just to hear what they want to hear in that kind of scenario.
That's the thing. They rock up to the house and they have a conversation with someone, and they're presenting as normal, as you said, and the child at that point looks normal, and they've been told don't tell, or they just automatically know this is not what you talk about.
There'll be consequences.
The box is ticked, and they go on, and then they don't come back again until something else happens.
And also, to be honest, there'll be consequences for less, right? That's the thing. So you learn not to say anything, because it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like by saying anything, there could be. By saying nothing, there still could be consequences.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just you just don't say anything at all.
No,
so I just don't. Yeah. So I'm not surprised, and that's why I think a couple of episodes ago, when I think we had a scenario about like people not saying something when a child is getting abuse or reporting abuse or something like that. One of the dilemmas anyway, like kind of thing. It's just like, this is you need to say something. It's absolutely why you need to say something, even if you think you might be wrong, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was just thinking of everything you guys have said and really thinking actually this needs to be ingrained more so in everybody's like social responsibilities though. I don't think it's okay to go into, oh, but my living situation. I don't think the excuses are okay because I think that should be a part of our moral compass that if you're seeing something like what you were saying, yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago where you was like, I don't care. There's no, I'm going to try and deal with it. I should go to social services. I actually think there's a level of that we should all be being taught like constantly. Like actually, it's a part of your civic duty to step in these situations when you're made aware of it, or if a child comes up to you and says anything, whatever you're thinking, oh, this kid could be fast, whatever. I think there should be a level of I have to investigate this further. I have to be present. Like it should be a part of your moral compass to sometimes you just got to get involved. I'm thinking of all my friends that stayed with me, and my mum's a little African woman, but it was just a standard. This person needs to stay in our house. They have to stay in our house. Our house was open. That's why I can say if I see anything that you're coming home with me, because that was my house. It was that you came and lived with me. Various people stayed with me for quite a few months, and then my mum would go into counselor mode with that parent and would be like, when I can see something is going on, then maybe they can go back home again. But that's how I was brought up, and it's like how it would be weird to me to have excuses for the space that I live in that somebody else couldn't come and stay here. That's just I can't see how I could live with myself. And then something went wrong, like something happened that nah. I would feel like I should be prosecuted too because I knew.
Let's get the comments, please.
Yes. So ZW says, I feel like they are hesitant to remove children because there is nowhere to place them. I think that's in relation to the social workers. Miss Latang says, don't stop reporting them, Auntie Nana. It takes a village to raise and keep those children safe.
They were reported last week.
ZW also says the grandparents do not have legal rights to a child. They have the same responsibilities as the general public, and it seems from the case that they inform the relevant authorities. And then Mr. Tang also says funding is a major issue. This government does not value children, hence all the cuts in resources. Yes, very true. And Ronald says the police should have been called. The rule is if you see something, say something. Agreed. Khloe, you're on mute, so you have to say that all again.
Auntie Farrell, what have you heard?
So just switching it up slightly. My story is about our lovely Prime Minister Boris Johnson and the latest war on drugs. But wait, it's not what you think, people. The latest war on drugs is on the middle classes. And he says that if you're a middle-class drug user and you get caught out, you can have your passport taken away from you, amongst other things. What do you think, aunties? Why do you think that Uncle Boris has decided all of a sudden to have a war of the middle-class drug users?
I feel like we need to get Boris on. We can get Boris on.
He's not a family member at all. He's an outcast of nothing. Auntie Nana.
You know what? This actually truly did make me laugh when I was reading it because I was like, all right, so what does he mean by your passport taken? I couldn't find that. What is this? Are they just trying to take people's like what's the word? Their right to citizenship? Like if they take your passport, does that mean that you're no longer a British citizen?
No,
are they literally taking your physical passport away from you?
Taking your physical passport and your driving license and like blocking it basically. I don't know if they come to your house and say you can have your passport. I don't know if it's that, but they literally
you can't travel.
They cancel your things. Yeah.
House arrest, kind of. Like you can go about, but you can't travel somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. But that just seems weird. I just found it funny. I was like, they always want to find a war in it. You got a war on something. Like constantly, we got a war on, and so now I guess your war on drug dealers is like plateaued or something. So now you need to war on middle class drug users who have, I guess, been fueling the drug trade, apparently. Like, this is just foolishness, because nobody's gonna get their passport taken, really. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. And if it does happen, it's probably still gonna be like black and brown people that are penalized for this. So I don't think he's trying to go in there like he's going for Middle England, like, you know, the yuppie. Do anybody even use that word anymore? But the yuppies. But that's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to be the city traders that are getting their passports taken. It's just going to be flipping Delroy and Calvin and Akwesi that are going to be losing their passports. This is bullshit as usual. He needs to comb his hair. Like, his hair is getting worse. Like, every time I see him, it's like it's getting longer and just sweeped in all different directions. It's ridiculous. He's such a clown.
Did you see him in the? Oh, sorry. Was you gonna call him meat or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see him in the police beanie?
Yes.
Beanie, and he had the jacket too.
And it looked like that. Like, why does he always look like? It's so annoying.
I mean, he's a weighty guy, isn't it? So how?
Look, the carries the weights in the shoulders. Like,
everything was just, he looked drowned. I was just like, what's going on? What's going on here? Oh my god, no, he's a clown. He's a professional clown, mate, and we're all paying him. It's mad. It's mad how he's wangled that one. Like, I don't know, man. What do I think? I think it's a nonsense. I feel like it's a distraction. Like, really, you're gonna stop all your friends' businesses. I don't believe you, Boris. I don't believe you. I think it's absolute nonsense. But the joke is when they found traces of like coke or something in a bathroom next to his office.
Imagine.
Apparently, this is why it's come up as well, because he's like, no longer will they be able to get away with this.
Mm-hmm. When it's your colleagues,
my friends.
You didn't want to share, so this is what's happening. Allegedly.
That's what happened.
His cabinet is cracked up, man. They're all cracked.
Literally. You have to be high to sit there going rah 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 in those stupid houses of parliament.
It's true.
Imagine if he was a proper nitty. He could be. That would explain everything.
Drug, allegedly, he could be a functioning drug.
Yeah,
addict. People are out there. They did.
He's on something.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I heard.
Listen, this isn't foolishness. Police being handed the power to go through drug dealers' phones and contact their clients with warnings about drug use. How? So imagine, hello, it's your local police officer. I'm just calling to warn you that drug taking is very, very bad. Oh my God, you know what I'm going to do? Stop taking drugs, because what you said really hit home. Come on. People don't even stop buying cigarettes when they got the face of the picture. Or I saw a friend's tobacco package, and I was like, oh, turn it over, because they had the horrible broken rotten foot from what
the foot one's gross.
And I turned it over and they had one on the other side. I was like, that doesn't deter people. People are still buying cigarettes faced with disgusting images of cancer-ridden body parts. You're going to think a phone call from a policeman is going to tell you to stop taking, it's convinced you to stop taking drugs. This is all, again, it's pandering, it's avoiding the elephant in the room. People are more stressed. Drug use has gone up because of stress and society's ills and woes and bad times. Obviously, where the money and funding needs to go is into rehabilitation. Let's rehabilitate drug users and drug offenders. Let's decriminalize the softer drugs and give more education and understanding. Because people are going to take drugs no matter what you do. People still kill. You get a life sentence. Some countries you get death penalty. But yet the world, people still murder, knowing that they'll be in jail for life, knowing that they could end up at a firing range, stoned, electric chair. They still murder. People still take drugs regardless. It's all nonsense. It's all absolute nonsense. They don't care about this, and it will be the middle class black and browns that get done. So black people, don't think you're off the hook. Please don't think that you can be there with Tarquin and Jemima and think that it won't be you that gets targeted, and Tarquin and Jemima will just call daddy darling and daddy will save them. So please don't get twisted, you buppies. We're not saying yuppie, we'll be saying buppies and black yuppies. Don't get gassed. Everybody just be on your best behavior. Nonsense. Auntie Farah.
I agree with everything that everyone said. However, it does tickle me. It does. I can't even lie. It tickles me because let's think about it. How many people that look like us, that grew up how we grew up, have got criminal records for having a bag of weed on them, or do you know what I mean? Like, or got criminal records because of possession and with intent to sell. So to me, I like the fact that now these middle class people who are sniffing in toilets and shit like that are going to get done. I like the fact that they're going to get their passports clapped from them. What I want to know is, are they going to get deported as well? Because if you're of a certain hue and you get caught doing drugs and you have a criminal record, you get dipped. That's what they do. They deport you. So I'd like to know if they're going to do the same thing here. They're saying that they're doing it because they want to cut down, they want to break the chain. It's not just working, arresting the drug dealers. We have to, cut down on the people who take the drugs as well in order to stop the fight or to stop the drugs being circulated into the community and all this shit. But what I really think it might be is that Boris and his brethren, they want people to be on pharmaceutical drugs, innit? There's no money in this thing for them. So rather than man sniffing coke, let's take some Valium or whatever the hell it is that these people are, perk or whatever it is these people are taking now. Let them make money in the legal drugs, because most of them, that's what they're on now anyway. They're not on, those low-end drugs anymore. They're on these fucking pharmaceuticals. They've got the local doctor in their back pocket giving them blank bloody prescription pills, prescription pads. So I don't know. It just makes me laugh. I just thought it was quite funny that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Boris is on these middle-class drug takers, who most of them are standing up in Parliament with him. Yeah. He said as well that they might get sniffer dogs for Parliament. Can you imagine?
They need it. They need it.
They got dogs there already.
He's probably warning someone.
That's my thing as well, because imagine if they got sniffer dogs and they just turned up in Parliament. Half of Parliament would have to walk out.
Yeah.
Half of Parliament would be arrested.
In the areas going into like the seating area and the canteen, there are dogs around there.
There are dogs, in our Parliament.
No, I know, it's just like drug related sniffer dogs.
Yeah,
they should have them in the actual like going through the offices, because obviously you've got a problem.
Literally, what needs to, people, again, I keep saying it, watch Succession. You see, when your family is damaged, middle class be damned, it's about fixing social services and mental health programs, because the reason as we keep saying, for those on the lower ground who know that people don't just take drugs for fun. Some people, there's a very small marginal few, take drugs just for fun. There's always something behind it that triggers that need to escape from the shitty reality of the world. So you can keep on. Do you know what? It'll be more of an inconvenience for them, yes. But they'll, like I said, daddy dearest, mummy dearest will sort them out, because that's what happens anyway when they do time. But at the same time,
if they
these people. There's going to be there's going to be lots of people. Lots of them are on drugs because of the stresses of belonging to such a fucked up hierarchical.
Yeah, I agree with the reasons behind people taking it, but I just want people to be punished in a similar sort of scenario.
No, so they should be.
Far too long has the impact of being found with drugs on you for people that look like us been that you are penalised for the rest of your life. You can't work in certain environments. You have a criminal record. You can't travel to certain countries, or you get deported. So my thing is, Boris, let's see what you're going to do now, because all these people that you fucking stand up in Parliament with, all these people that you get your funding with and you go around, they're all doing it. So let's see if you're going to actually practice what you preach, and you're going to fucking tarnish them, tar them with the same brush. Let's see if you're going to do it.
I think even
if it's minimal.
I was just gonna say, I do think that two things. I think he lost the illegal drugs import contract.
Yeah. They definitely
I'm not getting my cut. Nobody's getting their cut.
Yeah,
you're cutting
me out. Profit in the drug game. There's definitely
you can't meet the supply anymore. And I just think, like, you can tell in that little segment that he done, he was just like, drug users should be seen as it's an addiction, and it should be treated with care and stuff and everything like that. And it's very reminiscent of how, like, say, like America's dealing with the crystal meth epidemic, like the care and the empathy and stuff, but they
Yeah.
don't do that with like minor drugs
Crack.
like marijuana.
Or
Do you know what I
crack
mean?
users or crack addicts.
or crack users to demonize.
Exactly.
I don't think I agree that I don't really agree with anybody being punished for taking drugs. Actually, like on any level, I think I'm actually I'm opposed to that. I don't think you should be punished for it.
I don't think punishment works because
I think it's like for like
rehabilitation, and it depends how you're taking it, doesn't it? But I'm definitely up for like
even if it's like recreational, I think we should have like freedoms to do what we want to do, because people die. There's always a public safety thing, like, because people die more, but they don't. People who take drugs don't use the NHS anymore. They actually probably use it less than other things like alcohol and overeating and the things that they poison us with daily, as opposed to drugs. So I don't really agree with like penalizing anybody for taking drugs. I think they should be you should have choice, freedom of choice to take it. That it shouldn't be illegal, because you have a whole legal drug trade that is actually way more detrimental to people. Painkillers, like literally, you're basically legalized heroin when you're giving people oxytocin. Like it's just legal heroin, and you have way more issues with that than you do with crack now, but you're not doing anything about it. Nobody's going to prison over this. So it's like, I don't, this is a farce. But if he does arrest anybody or anybody loses their passport, I wouldn't be surprised if the first one is like a politician. That would just make me laugh. Like, I think they're taking the piss out of each other at this moment. It probably will be a politician.
Maybe he's trying to find ways to get rid of Priti Patel.
She could be. She's definitely on some shit. Allegedly.
She's on allegedly.
Yeah.
To maintain that persona, wow, I don't know what you couldn't be on.
You know what I mean?
Let's get the comments.
Okay. Monica says, Auntie AK looks so speechlessly disgusted. And Mr. Tang said, between him and Preeti, I think that's who's taken the white stuff, allegedly. And Ronald says, how are they going to determine who is a drug user? Does the person have to be convicted of possession or fail a drug test, or what? They haven't. They haven't said that just yet. But I'm probably thinking that drug testing is going to come into play.
Yeah. I think they were talking about more drug testing.
Yeah. Anyway. I knew this guy. I knew this guy, Nah, I don't know him at all. I saw something on social media where this guy said that he sold his urine for.
He sold his what?
Sold his urine, his clean urine for.
Yes, that's a business.
Yeah, people do that all the time, like for sports, footballers and sports professionals. That happens all the time.
I didn't even think that could be a side hustle, but could you imagine?
Oh yeah.
It's mad.
We're saying yes so confidently. Auntie Nana, what have you heard? I beg. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you're pregnant. What? Can you imagine?
Okay, my story. That would be hilarious.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. There's been a lot in the news about abuse of women and various cases, but there was a case that I stumbled upon while looking into this, and there was a murder that took place in a hotel, and the guy was named as a serial abuser of women. Like literally, he had been in prison 2 times before for beating up ex-girlfriends, and he eventually this time has actually killed a girlfriend, and is now being sentenced to life. Now, what I was thinking while I was reading over this and various other cases that are out there in the zeitgeist at the moment was, why isn't there a register that especially serial abusers are on, like child abusers? And so when you meet a man, you could actually log in, or you ask the police or something, you pay whatever, but you can find out if this person has been convicted for abusing women. Am I off with the fairies is this a breach of human rights? What do you guys think about this? Is it necessary at this point in time?
I'll go. I think it's. I think that immediately my reaction is yes, but I know there's going to be, especially because of the world that we live in, the governments that we're under, it will become a shit show for those who maybe, in quotes, made a mistake one time. But again, it's like, how do you quantify what that mistake? Because we have zero tolerance when it comes to paedophiles. But I think we've had this discussion before. There must be, in my brain always works like there has to be one person, even if there's no more, there's one person that bucks the statistic trend. So there has to be one pedophile that
if you see sorry. Between you and Auntie Nana today.
I know.
That was extreme as well.
Yeah, on one.
And imagine I'm the one that's at work.
It's a thing. But yeah, I think
I'm sorry.
I think it's just about the thing about reform and being labeled as something that you've done in your past that I do struggle with, not because I think, especially because Black people, we don't get afforded the chance to rebuild our lives after certain criminal events. And we're always targeted that thing. We're just generally targeted anyway and tarnished as criminals just on sight. So that's the part, how it will disproportionately affect Black people. Otherwise, I do think that, yeah, a database of abuse of men, absolutely. Can I just Google? I don't want to do too much. I don't even have to go to the police. If I could easily go into serialabuser.com, registered by whichever official body, and just put a name in and be like, let me see what comes up. I think, yeah, it is a violation, but it's not, because that person's potentially violating their new partner without any thought or process or remorse or anything. So you give up that right if you think you're going to take away the physical, mental health rights of someone else. And yeah, you lose your rights to be protected from people knowing your shitty past. Auntie Farah.
Isn't there something like this already? Like the sex offenders register? There's something like this already.
Sex, but not abuse, but not like physical abuse, I guess.
I think there's something you can apply to get but I'm thinking more, I'm literally, like you described, exactly what I was thinking of. Some database that I could just put in somebody's name and it will give me they've done this, that, and the other, like something like that. But I don't know if it really is an infringement on somebody's civil liberties. So.
I don't know. I suppose it depends what it is, innit? Like that's what it really is. So if you're a sex offender, you should be on a list, as far as I'm concerned. Why can't I put your name in and find out what you've done? I could put people's name into Google and find out a lot more for a lot less, if you know what I mean. So I don't see why not. But I understand what you mean, Auntie AK, when you say it could put you at risk disproportionately for us Black folk. But I suppose if they're on it anyway, aren't they? And we're just talking about as a woman, and you're going to start dating someone if you can find that information, like, was convicted in 1992 of boxing his girlfriend. That's quite useful information, actually, isn't it? I don't want to date you, thanks. Maybe on dating apps, there should be something on the dating app that you can press and it has a list of any criminal convictions, or I don't know. I'm not sure how it would work, but I can't see it being a bad thing.
Auntie Sade.
So as Miss Latang said in the comments, there is a thing called Clare's Law, and basically it says, if you or someone is being abused, you can tell us. And this scheme gives the members of the public the right to ask the police if their partner may pose a risk to them. It's often called Clare's Law after the landmark case that led to it. The scheme also allows a member of the public to make an inquiry into their partner of a close friend or family member, and it's like a form, and it starts with like, is a crime happening now, or is someone in danger? Basically, so that kind of exactly. So it is there. I think maybe just more awareness, like what that you can use this and stuff. But I do think, like, what the problem is sometimes, and not all the time, is just like, you know, people don't want, like, you know, the person to be like, I'm coming to you as a woman, like that kind of thing. Like sometimes it's like you might say, this is what happened to me, do you know what I mean, to someone, and they're like, they don't want to hear it from you, kind of thing, if it's like a direct kind of like conversation like that, do you know what I mean? But I definitely think it should be more publicized, man, and maybe it'll be more of a deterrent for men to stop abusing their power like that. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's like a case of, you know, you could be put onto that list, and, you know, maybe what's it called? And maybe your job finds out or something. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe it's like harder for you to function like as normal. Or maybe you need to give a portion of your salary to domestic violence charities for the rest of your life. Like, do you know what I mean? Like maybe then like people would stop being so willy-nilly and just kind of getting away with these things. Like I don't know what the conviction rate, or not even just the conviction rate is, but what the minimum sentences are. But I'm pretty sure that it's poor in comparison to most other things as well. So it's just like we could just still a lot of reform needs to be done there to like change the minds of men. To be honest, to stop doing this.
That's exactly it. It's like because I was, you know, when you start getting heavy with, there's a lot of this. And it may just be it's in the news a lot, that's one thing, but then there's not, like, actually, then you start to meet people and it is like, yeah, I was beaten up by this ex, and it's just like there's a lot of this. And really, what's the deterrent? Because we all seem to, it's not my business when it's in front of you, like that's going on over there. And also I do think there needs to be an element of punishment when you are punished that goes on longer than you've just served a term of like GBH type of thing. Like I swear that I feel like there really needs to be a step up in probation where you have to keep on registering, like you're actually a danger to another human, and we afford kids this right to be secured. And when people have abused children, that they go on a register. And I do think actually with how prevalent it is to abuse women, we may need those types of security measures in place as well. There may need to be more of a measures that go in place where you have to sign up. Like you can't travel very easily, like Nicki Minaj's husband. Like you're on this probation for a good 10 years after you've done something, so that it follows you around. So other girlfriends that come along are actually like, you know, they are safer because you have to sign a register or something like that. I think there needs to be
tag or something.
Yeah,
can't stay up late and
like stuff. It's easy to find you out. Like I don't think it should be that you get exposed online or then it comes into that everybody knows about it, and then it is like, but this was the fourth woman along. But that there's a pattern there. So realistically, if you're going to be the fifth, you may have known that there was 4 before you that got beaten up. Like I think there just needs to be more information out.
I think the thing is, I agree. I think that. I also, because so who was it that said someone like if he's a serial burglar? Because, or you know, like there's other things that contribute to abusive behavior. So I was wondering, like, what would it mean if I could look up someone's name and then see, okay, well, they were done for actually not necessarily violence, but yeah, they're serial burglars, they're serial this, they're serial this. They've had multiple, like,
or a fraudster,
or fraudster, because there's an element of okay, what I need to know what I'm getting into, but I don't know how long. It's like how long is a piece of string, and how much information do you want on someone? And there does become the thing when you're desensitized to the information. Come hell or what, they could have killed someone before. There will be definitely someone out there will rationalize it and say, no, they won't kill me.
I think you know what was it, kind of a CBR check? Is it a CBR check? They should have like a version of that. Like when you want to work with kids, you have to have like a check done by the police and stuff. Yeah. There should be a version of that. Like, not that I totally believe in marriage, but like, and it's not always the case that you're married to the person either. But like, if you're getting into like a serious relationship, you get married, there should be a version of that for your partner, basically. So you just find out all their shit, their credit history, if they've ever been convicted, what they're convicted for, all that kind of stuff before you actually go into that union together kind of thing. So you know exactly what you're getting into, and you have to like apply for it or something. Like that would be, I think, perfect.
I think that's a good idea. I think it's actually like it's needed because there are so many cases, especially when the woman is killed and this person has a profile before that they've killed you of doing so. It's like it gets progressively worse. Like there was this sentence for that, and there should be a way to find out about it because they are really manipulative. So if it is a friend or a parent that could find out what the history is of this person to present it, that may help. That may save a life. But I just thought I would bring it to you guys if I wasn't just going on a rabbit hole thinking, how can we solve this issue of violence against women?
Yeah, let's get the comments.
Okay, so Mr. Tang, yes, as I said, mentioned that there is a thing called Clare's Law, and says that women in new relationships can make applications to the police for disclosures. We ignore
not big bang.
Was that what it was? I didn't even hear.
Yeah,
it sounded so loud.
You know what? I love that so much. It cracks me up so much.
Are you like 9? Like my sons love that.
I think that's my level of humor, to be honest. Yeah. Okoya says there is such a listing, but most women don't believe that their new partner will do the same to them. I agree. And she said, my best friend works for a women's charity and says that most women are warned but don't listen. Ronald says, I know that employers can purchase criminal histories from law enforcement agencies. I don't know if individual citizens can. I wonder if you can you do that here in the UK? I'm not too sure, Ronald. I'm guessing you're talking about the US. And Mr. Tang says most local authorities don't even have a perpetrator program. And so that idea is a great idea. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Time to move into Aunties Know Best. Oh, do you know what? I don't have.
Well, you're not going to have an instrument in Ghana, are you?
I should have had a hip life Afrobeats kind of rhythm to play myself in, but you're lucky. I'll have that for next week. All right, so Aunties Know Best. There's 2 problems I have to cover. First is from one of our watchers, listeners, who has a problem that she wants the aunties to resolve. Okay, so hi aunties, I love your show. Keep up the great work you're doing. Big thumbs up. Now, I have a dilemma that I would love for you to cover next. Please, 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 please ask me for a friend. Wink, wink. So here we go. My good friend got engaged this year around summertime. For context, I have been engaged for over 4 years now, and we're planning a small, very small destination wedding in Europe. And when I say small, I mean us, our kids, and parents. That's it. And this is planned for 2022. Now, my friend also will be getting married in 2022 and also will have a destination wedding. However, her destination wedding will be in Jamaica. And the current cost for guests are over 3K per couple. 7 nights, all inclusive at a 5-star resort. We were given 5 months notice to book and make the final payments for summer 2020 nuptials. I'm very uncomfortable about changing my plans for 2022 at such short notice and coming up with that amount to spend on someone else's wedding. Please note that I'm in the bridal party, one of the high-ranking bridesmaids. So basically she has to be there. How do I break you to it that I'm not going? Also, what do you guys think? What would you do if one of your good friends asks this of you? And she goes on to say, I hope you cover this. Kiss, 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 kiss. Guys, aunties, how are we resolving our actual fans' problem?
This is a non-problem for me. And I tell you for why. If I'm engaged to be married and my friend's engaged to be married, then we both should know that the importance is the marriage between the people who are about to commit to one another. If I ain't got the papers and you ain't paying for me, I'm not coming, in it. Like I've been struggling and trying to save up little change to do my wedding. I can't come to your wedding. Yes, I'm so flattered that you want me in the bridal party. However, you know I ain't got it like that right now, innit? I'm not going to struggle and fuck off my own wedding with my own fucking fiance in order to go and stand up in Jamaica on yours, and then I can't get. And you, if you are my friend, as you say that you are, will understand, and you'll know that I really appreciate you wanting to include me on this, and I'll do what I can from here, but I'm not coming because I don't have the money. Simple things.
Auntie Sade.
So when I saw this, I thought back to my friend when she got married in Jamaica in a beautiful place called Little Bay, and that she paid for my flight, hotel, and everything. I was obviously a bridesmaid, and yeah, I had a great time. It was amazing, and you know, like, she's my good friend. Like, do you know what I mean? And she, you know, she knew what my situation was at that point in time, so she made it happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, you kind of need to. Not that I don't think at that point in time I had to tell her, but if it was unclear, I would have told her, like, look, I don't have the funds for this, and you know, it wasn't that I was expecting her to, but then at the same time, at that point in time, if she went ahead without me, I think it would have been war. But but that's just the kind of friendship. I mean, that works both ways as well. That's the kind of friendship that we have. But yeah, so she sorted me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like, you know, okay, not everyone has that. I get that. Do you know what I mean? But you do have to be honest in your friendships. Do you know what I mean? You do have to be upfront and just say, like, this is what it is. And if a person is a real friend, then they'll either help you get there, they'll find a solution, help you find a solution, or they'll understand why you can't be there. Do you know what I mean? And know that you'll be there in spirit, or find ways to incorporate you while you're in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's basically it. Well, that wasn't me this time.
Oh no, that was Auntie Nana. It came in properly. Try again in a few seconds. Yeah, that's what should I do. Try again in a few seconds. You don't get my point right now. Try again in a few
seconds. Yeah, I feel for you. I've been there and I paid money, and it was exactly the same. 3,000. And I think I would love to have been in the position of Auntie Sade and it all being paid for. I do feel that in hindsight, I think that's the way it should be done. I think if you're going to do a destination wedding, it's one thing to invite the guests, but I really do think that you should have it in your head that this wedding literally could be me and my husband and my kids, or if there's no kids, me and my husband and the priest, then we'll find a witness there. But I think it's not okay to expect people to spend money to attend your wedding when it's in another country, really and truly, unless you're going to pay for them. I think that's the way it should be, because you never know. Like, $3,000 can go on so many different things in somebody's house, and it's not okay to expect that. So I wouldn't even be fearful in telling her. I think she should absolutely understand. And I almost feel like even in asking you, it should have been a conversation. If you know that somebody else is getting married the same year as you, it actually should be more of a, I would love you to be a part of the bridal party. Do you think you have the capacity to do, than a straight, you're in my bridal party? I think that's already sensing a lot of selfishness. So, you know, maybe this is going to be the crossroads when you two go your separate ways. It just may be that, but really the person should understand. Like, this isn't a small ask on your same wedding year. It's not even a small ask on any year, actually, to ask somebody to go fly over to Jamaica and spend money on a 5-star hotel. It's not a small ask. And I wouldn't have done it for anybody other than my best friend, really. I would have appreciated the hotel being paid for and just my flights. But, you know, that money's gone now. So what can I say?
Yeah. Same. Me and you've got a wedding in the same year, and you're expecting me to be there and pay for it. And, you know, no, unless we're both balling and we know that each other's bank account is huge. And no, it's not realistic and it's not fair. You should, the person who wrote in, you just need to be honest and say, I can't afford this. So no, I can't go. And I'm a high-ranking bridesmaid. High-ranking to be damned. I could be high-ranking a little more. So I can high rank from London. I can high rank from London.
Zoom.
It's for real. Zoom.
Coordinate. You want me to be, I can set everything up. I can be wedding planner extraordinaire. I'm just not going to Jamaica because you know what? I'm getting married too.
Yeah.
And you knew that. But it sounds like the way it
Ghana Wi-Fi. Ghana Wi-Fi.
so well.
We've been doing so
Ghana
good.
was like, go and find your husband. You want to talk about marriage? Go and, come off the Zoom. Come off this chat now and go and find your husband. That's what we're here for. Come on now.
Coffee is round the corner.
And he had some brothers too. She's frozen as well. Like,
we knew it may happen. So Akoya is now frozen. Auntie AK is frozen, and hopefully she'll be back. She'll be back again.
Right.
Did anybody else want to add to that scenario? We've all gone, haven't we?
Yeah. I think I think that's fine. Like, seriously, I think what you guys were saying is right. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just have to have the conversation, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I think
like to add,
nowadays,
your friend is. I want them to be one of our friends.
Yeah. We all want your friend to be our friend.
Your friend needs to be our friend too, because I like holidays. I like freeness. I even like weddings.
I mean, we would give her bare like, can you sell us to add to?
She would love us. You know that she'd love us.
We are lovable characters.
We bring a lot to the team. Like,
she's lovely. She's actually lovely, and she's been my friend for a very long time. And yeah, I love her to pieces. And yeah.
That's not what we asked you. We said like we want an introduction.
I mean,
I'm sensing that
question been denied.
She's not a mixer-upper, is she? She's like, I got my friends here, I got my friends there. She's one of those.
But you know what, though? I understand that, because you know, like, sometimes you try to make all your friends be friends.
Oh, no.
And it goes wrong. You know, like when you're younger, you have this thing of everyone has to be friends.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you're like, no, you don't ever need to meet that person.
I was absolutely that. I'm probably still a bit like that, like everybody mix, but I'm not so forcing it anymore. But when I was younger, it definitely was like, let's try and make a really big crew. So then you meet somebody, it's like, join the crew, so that there's more people in the crew, and then it doesn't work.
What are you trying to do with the crew?
I've had like friends be really.
I've already told you guys that I wanted to be a cult leader. I've been like,
I
had this, like, the more people that were around, it was a thing.
A cult leader.
She said an actual cult leader.
That's why I stopped. Because she said a cult leader.
Honestly, it was a big dream.
You could have just said you wanted to be head of a crew, but you said a cult leader.
No, an actual cult leader.
That's a different thing.
Right.
What have you got in your cult?
How many did I manage to get?
What would we have got from being in your cult?
Oh yeah. What
was my selling points? It was kind of like, an insight into the meaning of life, that type of thing. Like, living off the grid.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I mean, I was 14, so I didn't know what off a grid meant, but
it would have been a no from me.
Don't try it. I had about 7 followers.
Of course you did.
Do you just mean 7 friends?
Hello.
They were followers. They were a part of Fossuism. It was real.
What is that? Fossuism? What happened there?
It just means 7 friends.
What
did I know about when I wanted to be a cult leader?
Oh yeah, and you had Fossuism.
Oh, you're making me hot. That's funny.
Oh my god. Did we move on to the next problem?
We're literally chatting, so yeah, you can do the next dilemma.
Yeah.
Okay, next dilemma. Sorry about that, internet dropped. Another problem. My friend has 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. The oldest boy, who's 15, is maturing and will be dating soon. And my friend thinks it's fine if the son brings home a girlfriend and they have sex at home, citing that it's safer that way. This would obviously be when he and his girlfriend are of age, and she would, of course, never condone underage sex. And it would be when they are in a loving and, of course, consensual relationship. Her longtime partner, who is the father of her last child, but not the first two, disagrees and doesn't want that to happen, and says that it sets the wrong precedent. The fear is that she doesn't want her child to have sex in dangerous places like a park. And whilst I hear her, I couldn't totally agree because her partner and I share a similar cultural background and viewpoint, which is this is deemed to be unacceptable. It would be good to know your thoughts as I'm truly on the fence. Aunties, what do you think? Auntie Far.
Okay, so I kind of, this is difficult because the logical side of me says you absolutely want your child to be in a safe space. You want to have that relationship with your child where they tell you the truth. And, you know, the best place for them to be is in your home rather than God knows where. And I say this as someone who, as a teenager, my mum technically didn't always know exactly where I was. I wasn't necessarily always where I said I was for one reason or another. And I have friends who definitely had sex in places that they should not have had sex in, and because they couldn't go home. You can't stop someone having sex once they get to an age and they want to do it. You just saying to them, you can't do it right now, ain't going to cut it. They're going to do it, and they're going to do it wherever they're going to do it. So in the safety of your home is always better. Like, I feel like it's the same for when kids want to start drinking, when they get to like 17 or something like that. In the safety of your home is always better than in a park or an alley or someone else's house, and you don't know whose house they're at. And so that's the logical part of me. The parental side of me is like, no, not my child, not my house, but they're going to do it. So the intention there would be for me to have a mansion and for them to be as far away from me in my house as possible, so I don't have to hear no knocking. Because if I hear anything, I'm telling you now, woo, worries in the dance. You might have to sleep on the couch, and you might have to creep in at night when I'm asleep, because you know, no, it's that part of me is like, it's ick, but I'd rather it be in my house than somewhere else.
Auntie Nana.
Oh my God, I don't even know. And this is like, I mean, I still got a few years, but I do think about it. What is the thing to do? I feel like, I don't know. I don't want it to happen.
Snap.
I don't know. But I also don't want them to like be forced to do, I don't know, a random car, or, you know, like somebody's big brother's empty flipping dodgy house that a lot of people go to allegedly. Like, just, I don't want any of that, but I also don't want it to happen in my house. I don't know. But I mean, it's gonna happen. I would prefer it to happen in my big house and I don't hear about it. But I also feel like I would want it to happen around 18 though. I still feel like 16 is very young.
Yeah.
For
I missed
both,
that
for
age,
a girl and for a girl and a guy. I think 16 is still a bit young. So I would more be inclined to be speaking to my sons about like taking time, like date the girl, like you can date and you can come in the house and everything else, but really stepping forward into sex, I would want them to be a little bit more mature and a little bit older. And I think over 18, I'd be fine. You can both parties, you can do this in my house and it's safe. But I think under that, it's too kiddie. You're still a teenager. I want 18 and over, and then you can do it in my house.
Yeah, I'm with you. I missed the 16 bit.
Well, she didn't say 16. She just said that when they're of age. So
yeah, I guess but it's 15. Yeah. So you're already thinking of 16, age of consent. It's going to happen soon. Yeah, and I would really want to delay, but you can't delay it. But I would want to
push back
be
on that.
Like, you know, date the person, like really, really date them, like get to know each other, spend time together, fall in love.
Flower.
Yeah, and then do it.
I think there's a lot of projection in when it comes to not in my house. It's culture, it's tradition, and not in my house. Because when you think about it, what is the not in my house? And I guess it comes to like the boundaries between parent and child. What does that break down? If you know, does your child lose respect for you if you start to allow certain things? It's those type of things that I think come into play. Because when you really break it down, what is the big deal about somebody of age having physical fun in the same route, in the same space. Because if you go on holiday to a hotel, if you go on holiday, you go anywhere else but someone's home, your parents' home, and you're with your parents, it's going to be, it could be done. So I think it's removing those kind of, really understanding what the no is or the pushback is as to what is the problem when you really break it down. Because then it just becomes, well, I don't want them to have sex in my house. And that's it. If that's what it is, then that's just what it is. But really understand, what is your no? Really, what is your no? I obviously have a grown person in my yard who's of age and who has a partner. And I could not be a hypocrite and say, like, not in my house, because most probably has been in my house. And I'm okay with it. I think before having a child of age, I would have thought, oh, God, that's terrible. It's disrespectful. No way, no way. But it's definitely knowing that your children are in a safe place, comfortable place, and not trying to get it at a back alley and in a car and all that type of stuff. And to be fair, they're going to do that. They're going to do that anyway. If you're not in it, they know your work patterns, your work schedule, definitely going to be creeping in people's houses.
What's your of age?
Again, similar to you, 18 plus, because I think 16, I'd be more steering towards, let's just pause. Do you understand what you're doing? And I think 16, I think is too young. So 16, I would be a lot more comfortable saying, no, not in my house. And push, and if you're then looking at what is the necessity and what is that, because I definitely don't think there should be a thing, well, hello, this is my boyfriend or my girlfriend, we're staying over and tonight will be the night, most probably. I don't want to know that it's in those kind of explicit terms, that this is the night that this is going to happen. And I definitely at 16 in those kind of ages, I feel like it's a lot more obvious that this is what's going to happen, in a kind of more intentional, we've got to have sex because sex is so exciting way. Yeah. So I think it's definitely about the relationship you have with your children. What's she saying? The part, it's again, usually men and sex and all that type of stuff. When it comes to their daughters, there's a lot of projection. So it's just removing the projection. Why are you saying no? If your no is projectionless and balanced, then deal with it. But where I once said no in my house, I'd be like, okay, it's been a natural evolution to
in my house.
So I think that I understand why doing it at home sounds like a good idea. I do understand that in theory, but I think culturally, the way I was brought up, like, it's a no-no. Like, there's too much taboo. It's too ingrained in my culture. Like, nah, you don't have sex in your parents' house, man. You just don't. Like, it's just mad. They're showing into some kinky shit, and you want to get up and, like, just like, yes, do that. But I do think,
what is the kinky scale of?
Unless you want your parents to hear.
Yeah. But like, eventually they're gonna hear. They're gonna think someone's gonna cross paths or something, or like, I don't know. But anyway, I think like there's many other places. It don't have to be in a park. Like, if you really want to do it, like, you can get yourself a little Saturday job. You can save up for a hotel. Like, you can make it an experience. You can make it like nice. You could just do so many different things. Like, it doesn't have to be at home. Like, you can make it like something that you guys do together. I would be scared of, if it was like my son, for example, him getting someone pregnant under my roof, like diseases, like just like having the opportunity to manipulate, misuse, not to say I'd bring up a son like that, but you don't know, people can do stuff, they can fall into stuff, like, just, be in the yard where everyone can go. Like, I would just, do you know what I mean? Like, kind of thing. I would just hate that. I also thought, like, does it matter if it's a girl, boy, does that scenario change, kind of thing? I would think I'd be definitely against it if it was a girl, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But that is just that's sexism. I know.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying, and it's a black person's like tradition. Really and truly, you don't like even the idea of being able to bring a guy home. I remember once I had a friend come round to my house, and me and him was in my room. I think I was about 16. He was I was about 17. He was 16 because I was at home. He came round and we were in my room just listening to music, and the wars that happened after that, you would have thought that someone found me sitting on top of him from what happened. Me and him were just like, he was at the other end of the room, I was at one of it. But you would have thought that I was literally on my back taking the biggest wood at that time. Me. So I totally get it, but I also understand the opposite scale of what that meant that I personally did. So whilst I don't want it, because it's like the idea of my child having intercourse in my house, but I do think that's more of a it's my child sort of thing rather than anything else.
Yeah.
With us, I do think it was like a respect thing. You don't in your parents' house out of respect, but I don't know. It's so weird. But I hear your point, Auntie Sade. But it's the logical side of me. Where I'm like, well, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna do?
I feel like you gotta go somewhere though, innit? Like you don't also want your child just being out there.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I know some girls that did some things in some different places, and I don't ever want any. I'm telling you straight, and not like we're kinky. We're doing it here. I mean, like we got nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I don't want that. That's the same thing with raving though. Like I literally am like I will drive you wherever you. Like don't lie. Like how I did. Like don't lie. Say you want to go to this rave. I will take. They don't even have rave. Why then they're gonna have to
die though.
No, but the thing is,
I'm lucky I didn't die.
I'm very lucky. No, but for real,
no matter gassing in places, running, like all of that. I
being driven by people who have taken ease.
Yeah,
just like on a motorway who don't have a license. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I will drive you anywhere you want to go. I will just take you, and then I'll pick you up. Yeah. So you don't even have to be like, oh, I'm staying at this person's house. No, we can just go to a rave. Like I understand, we're gonna want to go to a rave.
I think it's about the intention of your child and how your child carries himself. Because as Auntie Shadow, you said, if you fostering because there's definitely some parents like they don't like, again, ignoring the red flags of their child. They're ignoring the fact that their child's dirty and anyway. And when I say dirty, I don't mean in the promiscuous sense of the word, well, promiscuous, but in the sense where they're just reckless with people, that have no respect for themselves or the people that go traipsing through your house, and it's not a knocking shop. That type of behavior, it's not on son, daughter. You're not having my house. That's disrespectful. But I definitely think long-term relationship, and it's inevitable, it's evident that this is something that is serious, it's got legs, it looks like it's potential, then removing those barriers to comfortability and help, because there's that thing as well, as Auntie Farah alluded to, like you just got a guy in your room as a friend, and then projection from your parents deem that as unacceptable, disgusting, dangerous, wrong. There's some of us, so some people out here that are sitting with relationship less because of all the stigmas and the trauma that's placed on interacting with men, and especially for young women, that boys are bad, sex is bad, everything's bad. So then by the time you come to an age where you realize that a lot of that was what you were told was projection and nonsense, not the true understanding of what relationships and sex is all about, you're there lost in the wind, not knowing what the fuck to do and how to get yourself into a decent relationship because you spent so many years traumatized from what you were taught. So I definitely think it's about your child. You definitely have to know your child. You definitely have to have some rules and boundaries. I definitely don't think if my daughter was out there bringing bear man, it would never happen. It could never happen. There's different that. But someone respectable that you can see that this is actually something that it could potentially be something great, then that's a different conversation. And it does, and I'm speaking from experience in this perspective, it makes it harder to sin, because like I said, I had all the no's, but it does then become also, what am I actually saying no to?
Yeah.
And that's the question. And if it's just because out of respect for me, but it then respect is relative in that it starts to become harder and harder, then you're literally just saying no. And it is a thing where, okay, you can leave then. And it's just like that relation, I don't know, it starts to set a whole different thing, chain of events.
Oh my God. I don't want this to happen.
It's gonna happen.
I don't know what,
I don't even want to get there.
I
want them to stay small.
Yeah, they have babies. That's what it is.
They're like
I think
still cute now, but literally it is like, I do think about it because Akai kind of has like teenagey tendencies. Like he's really getting into fashion, and it is like, oh my God, that's the beginning. Yeah, but you're just 9. I still am like, you're just 9, but you are getting into that stage where it's like, what do I wear?
When they can reason and when you can no longer pull the wool over their eyes.
about what life is like.
Yeah.
That's what and it does, because it is that a lot of our cultural traditions have tempered our voice, have quietened us where we can't speak freely as adults. So even sometimes when we, like in this day and age, when children are being allowed to have an opinion and reason, and when you're faced with that, or with a child that's got speaking with pertinence, and you're under teenage years and you're talking with so much confidence, it's an adjustment to think, oh, hold on, who are you talking to? My initial reaction is, who the hell are you talking to? But where's the line between this human has a right to express themselves how they want to, and if that's how they're expressing themselves because their brain is at that level, why am I tampering it down? What is the rule? What there's an adjustment that comes with parenting and looking after someone young, and understanding who they are, as well as setting boundaries and what the no's are and why the no's are. I think you have to understand what your no's are.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand my no. It's just not. It's not politically correct. Like it's just not. It's basic.
But that's the thing, being confident in your no. I think that's what it is. It boils down to your individual no. If you're like, yes, I don't want it because it's not happening, because that's what I feel. That's all good. It's those that are like, I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just saying no. I find problem with that. If you're confident,
one of my friends was like, there's no way that I'm in the house with my wife and we're hitting it, and my kids are in the house and they're hitting it. Only I can be hitting it in the house.
Oh my God, even the thought of that is,
yeah. No,
the thing is, the source of it is nonsense, but why are you thinking of that? Because you shouldn't even really be thinking of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, humans are so weird. We shouldn't actually.
But you do have it's a reality. Otherwise, you're just ignoring what's happening. And not obviously not in a perverse way or whatever kind of thing. But it's just like, okay, what if you've come home early and then your son or your daughter is just screaming the house down and they don't know that.
Or it's scenario, but instead of the mum, it's the son.
But that could happen regardless. If they think you're at work and they're sneaking, because ultimately,
it's my house. It's my house.
The minute you put the ban down, that shit can still happen, because it's like, oh, mum's at work. She said no, but keep, and then you come in and hear whatever.
Yeah, that can, but they will know that it's not supposed to happen, and you shouldn't.
Yeah, I get that. I mean,
any type of loud. No, you do that. They just need to all go to university at 18.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, why does it have to be in your?
Then you're out.
It doesn't have to be in your house. If that's the
it's not everyone. But not everyone.
They might have different parents. It might be their house. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but then
there's so many scenarios why it doesn't work like that.
If it's at their house, you're just putting your head in the sand.
Because it's just I don't want it in front of me.
No, I know that, but like the other concerns that you had about, maybe he could get her pregnant, or if you've got a son, or those sort of things.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you've got a daughter and she goes to some boy's house and she's having sex at some boy's house, and then the boy's mum comes in while they're having sex, or that like there's so many different scenarios that are out of your control.
I didn't even think about those things though. Like, when I was younger, I would just go to the.
I'll be like,
house.
see what made happen.
I just go to the guy's house and not. I remember when one boyfriend's mum was like, "What are you doing here?" and she just cussed me out the house. And it's like,
I had one.
Yeah,
I had one, and I didn't know, but he had a girlfriend, like a proper girlfriend. This actually happened twice. But one mother, like, totally, like, she just blanked me. So we are face to face, and he's like, "Mum, this is Nana. Nana, this is my mum." And I'm like, "Hello, Auntie." And she just looked me up and down and went. And instinctively, I knew, you've got a girlfriend. Like, it was just, it was the way she did it. It was just like, you're not supposed to be here. It's usually another girl. So another one, she was really nice to me. Until one of the aunties came. She came from Canada, and she was like, "Oh, so you must be Nicola." I was like, "No, I'm not." And the Nicola girl was the longer girlfriend. And the mum stepped in and was like, "No, this is Nana. Nicola's not around anymore." It's like, yeah.
See, so from my point of view, I remember I was going out with this guy, and I was more embarrassed that the mum knew that we was having sex in her house. So then I didn't really want to be around in the house, because I'm like, I'm gonna have to face your mum, and your mum knows.
Yeah, that's
having sex in the house. Like, so then I would kind of like avoid speaking to the mum too much, and then that became a thing because I'm already talking to the mum too much, but I don't want to talk to her because I'm been banging your son in the house. Like, yeah, it's just all,
it's all a mess, and I'm glad I'm out of it.
It's just all awkward. I'm glad I'm a grown ass woman and I'm out of it.
Honestly. And you know what? Maybe I was lucky in the sense that I got my place quite young. Do you know what I mean? So
that's
like,
another
I just
thing,
didn't have to suffer that consequence for very long. But I do remember going to one particular boy's house and his sister banging on the wall because we were
That's just terrible.
So yeah, scarred for life, mate.
I mean, I've had my neighbour do that before. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I've had neighbours.
I think I would die. I swear, my heart would drop, and I'm just gone. Like, how am I getting up again and walking out? Like,
that's what I mean.
It's just sex. I think I'm maybe I'm a little bit. I'm just like it's all our internal issues or projections. It's not a big deal. If I heard my sister having sex, I'd be like,
it's the idea. I don't know. It's weird because I remember when I used to live in my old flat, there was my neighbor upstairs must have rented out their house to these uni students at one stage, right? And I remember they were fucking for what seemed like, I don't know if they took something.
That's annoying.
They were fucking for about 10 hours. It wasn't 10 hours. It just felt like 10 hours to me. And I could hear them going from room to room to room, angle. And then like at one stage, I was doing things so that they would know that I can hear you. Like, I beg, like, just calm down a little bit, innit? I went to the bin to throw rubbish out. I remember as I walked past, they had the window wide open. So it's they want everyone to see and hear what's going on. Just like,
remember that was when we were in New York, and I think, Nana, you'd left. No, something.
Where's this going?
No. I can hear people next door. No, people next door in the room next door. Like,
I was literally going to mention them, the sex couple, and you could just hear them. That they were
like, I don't want to hear that regular banging, but one off like random. And I'd be like, listen, I heard you, allow it. If it's in,
they were bloody annoying. It was like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that was annoying. That's annoying. Yeah.
But I tell you what,
and go to sleep.
When I've gone to hotels, I don't care if you can hear me in it. I've paid my money. I don't care.
No,
they obviously didn't care.
I'm being honest. Like I don't care.
It was
like I'll go down. I have my. Yeah, cool. And I'll go down. And have
not okay. They would stop for a bit, and then they would stop again.
I have paid
you guys are paying my money.
I have paid my money, and I've gone to a hotel to enjoy myself.
We were selling goods in Afropunk. We needed our sleep.
She might have been selling goods too.
To be honest, but the thing is, to be fair, it sounded like a weighty guy and a light, sprightly young lady. But that's where I take my shoes to the hotel. I wouldn't blame the people there. I blitzed it because why your wall so thin and why are you doing that? Like, your wall shouldn't be so thin.
That was so annoying. We just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, and it's just anyway. Let's go for the culture. What are you watching? What are you wearing? What's chatting? I don't know why that's my sex channel. There's lots of stuff that's happening.
Pigeons.
It sounds like pigeons. Yes.
I'm not going to do the actual sex sounds. I think that's more, pineapples. Okay, for the culture, we've got Likkleman and Bouncer. Apparently, Bouncer's trademarked Likkleman's name. The Mobos, did we watch it? Who won? Who lost? Do we care? Swiss Beats has called out the poor behavior and lofty demands of some of the acts invited to partake in the versus battles. And I want to ask what rules you would have in place. And Will and Jada, people are saying they shouldn't be interviewed again. Tristan Thompson has allegedly offered a woman $75,000 to get rid of their baby. And someone's had a Dubai problem with cocaine, one of the Love Island lot. What do you want to talk about first? Let's take 2 out of them. I need to get some food.
It's got to be Bouncer, isn't it?
Bouncer.
What happened? I did not. You lot were talking about it on. Please break it down. What the hell happened? And explain first of all who Likkleman is and Bouncer.
Oh,
no.
All right. So Likkleman is a dwarf and he's a boxer. Bouncer is a businessman, a former criminal who manages certain people. He used to manage Dig Dat as well. He's a grime artist, drill artist. And basically, Likkleman went on ZZ Mills and Sideman's podcast, what's it called?
Plus
44. He went on there and said that Bouncer had stolen from him. Like, he owns all of his intellectual property. He's trademarked his name as Likkleman. He owns that. He owns certain like phrases that he says, and that his contract is for 50% of all of what Likkleman earns. And he said that's out of order.
Wow.
And he went on +44 talking about it. So then Bouncer came on Clubhouse and was chatting with Kojo and Sideman on there and putting forward his case as a businessman that invested, he said, £130,000 into making Likkleman a brand that he is now. Like, he put that money in there, and he ran his TikTok and Instagram page, and he trademarked his name. He's given him his TikTok and Instagram page, and he said he's willing to give him over the trademark, and they can go their separate ways. And he has made 50% of nothing. He spent that money on him, and he hasn't made any money back from him. So
he's willing to give his stuff back to him for free.
This is what Bouncer is saying, but Likkleman was saying that they asked and he didn't get back to them.
He didn't exactly say he's gonna give it for free. He didn't actually say those words. He just said that he will give it. He's there. He's talk. I think someone asked him about an amount, and he's like, I'm not even saying about that amount. Do you know what I mean? So he didn't actually say completely for free. I didn't get the impression it meant completely for free, but like the what is this? I'm trying to be respectful, but what it seems to me is that kind of like road guys like doing business, right? Do you know what I mean? In a legit way, which is absolutely fine. I just think that when you're dealing with trademarking someone's name, there is no way it looks respectable, ethical, moralistic at all if you do that. You trademark someone's name without their knowledge. It just never looks good. It really doesn't, regardless of whether, because his thing is saying, oh, he's got 50% of nothing because Likkleman hasn't made any money. His next fight isn't happening. So he, do you know what I mean? Like, and he built his brand and stuff and everything like that. But still, you trademarked it for a reason. You didn't put it in his name for a reason. You put it in your own name because eventually you wanted to make some sort of money out of it. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of whether that's like, oh, you're going to hold him to ransom for it, or, you were still going to stay friends and you would have just made the money. But the thing is, with Likkleman, I don't know if you mentioned, but he says he can't read or write either, right?
Sorry.
So it's just problematic. It's just really problematic. And I know there's people out there with problems and all that kind of stuff, yeah. But like, honestly, guys, if you have friends or know people who are in these kind of predicaments or kind of from that, road life, and they don't have good people around them, like, try and advise them. Do you know what I mean? Not to sign these deals, not to sign these contracts, not to sign these agreements or get involved with people like this, because, as much as, Bouncer is saying that he's done everything with a clean heart, because that's essentially what he's saying. It's just like, really though?
What does it say? You think he's wrong? Like,
I think he's wrong for trademarking the name without Likkleman's knowledge. If someone trademarked my name, I'm working with you, because he's trying to say, oh, they're 50-50 business.
Yeah, they were partners.
But still, like, I have a business with my niece called Everyday Friday. We're not 50-50, but we're business partners. Yeah, that trademark is attached to our business. Do you know what I mean? If she trademarked that name without my knowledge, or if I trademarked it without her knowledge, she's going to feel some type of way, or I'm going to feel some type of way. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a level of deceit and dishonesty. There's a lack of transparency. And ultimately, that destroys trust. Because what is it? You could have done that, like, thinking, oh, yeah, that'll be good for us in the future. I'm not going to believe a bloody word you say, because why didn't you say it at the time? Do you know what I mean? Why didn't you tell me what was happening? Why didn't you say, like, this is the plan and we're doing this because of this? And or the other thing is, okay, I'm going to trademark it now to transfer it to you later. Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, why people trademark in this way most of the time is for deceitful behavior. And we've seen it. We've seen it like time and time again. There was a case with the receipts. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't remember what the complete outcome was that, but it's just like a next person trademarking their thing. It feels mad. Do you know what I mean? There was Black Lives Matter. Madness. Do you know what I mean? Like, serious. So I just don't think it's ever gonna go down well. You have to be transparent from the beginning. You have to say what it is. And like in business, like, and I hate this whole thing about with business, oh, that's the way the game goes. It doesn't have to be like that. It's because you're buying into the idea it has to be like that. It actually doesn't have to. You can be ethical in business. You can.
Yeah, and just
I think that's my point. Go on.
You said, just to tailor on what you said about trademarks, we like you said, we've seen it very many times, and let's not be disillusioned here. It doesn't cost that much to trademark a name. Like my company's trademarked. I didn't spend thousands of pounds doing it. It's a couple £100. So really, he could have said to Likkleman, it's a couple £100. I think you should trademark your name. Or he should have just done it and said, look, I've done it for you. Give me back my couple £100. It's not like it costs thousands of pounds. It's a process. As long as no one else contests what you've done, then it just goes through with no worries, no problems. However, there are people out there who make it their business to trademark names that they think are going to be successful later on, in order to go to that person later on and say, I actually own this trademark. You're going to have to pay me to use it. If you want it, you're going to have to pay me. They get the trademark, they get the website, they get the domain name, they get everything, because they know that there's money to be made in that in the future. This is not new news. He can't have done that with a clean heart. You can't tell me that you went and you trademarked somebody else's name without their knowledge with a clean heart. You can't. You've done it for financial gain, and that's what it is. And if that's what you have done, then own your fucking shit and admit that's what you did.
But if they're business partners, like you're if
they're
so Likkleman's still in prison, you're like, I want to keep him out of prison, and I'm building a brand, and we are business partners.
Then it should be in both of their names.
But then it should have been up in. It should, from what we don't know, I don't know if Bouncer said that he told Likkleman that this is what I'm going to do, because he also paid shade on the fact that Likkleman can't read or write. So then you know that you're just doing stuff over your business partner. So that's not business partnership. That's not. We can't be in this conversation as business partners, and you're doing stuff that I don't know what the deal is, and doing stuff to me, because it's not our business. It's not like Bouncer Likkle Productions and then the substrand to everybody. It is his own, the person's own brand being trademarked by a person that you're calling my partner. You're not partnering me. You're owning me.
Dave Chappelle said like he's gone through a similar sort of scenario, isn't it? Like there's lots of people in the fucking Princeton. There's lots of people that have gone through similar scenarios where people have gone behind their back and trademarked their fucking personal property.
And the thing is,
it's shady.
Likkleman, you can read, not read right. You just need, as we keep saying, no matter what, when it comes down to business, it's not easy. And I think there's definitely this thing where you come from. I'm not saying I don't know Likkleman's background. I don't know Bouncer's literal class background, but when you come from the ends, let's just say, and you don't have all the clues of business and all that type of stuff, there's this easy way out, or this like, okay, I'm going to model myself on the icons in the industries. Maybe I'm going to fancy myself as a bit of a Suge Knight, or I fancy myself as a bit of a Diddy. And you do the things that you see in public, and you hear the thing like, yeah, that's how it goes. That's as Auntie Sade said, or as we've said it many times before. Business doesn't have to be shady. It really doesn't. We enact and we perpetrate the stereotypes and the myths that business has to be shady. You got to be cutthroat to make it. It's all this enforced stereotypical negative behavior. Where actually, what happens to the person that actually just makes honest deals? How do we change the trend, and what happens there? And is it?
I guess Bouncer is saying he's done it honestly. Like he's put money in to building a brand.
But did he say to him, "I'm going to trademark your name"?
No. He did all of this as like, I'm doing business stuff. So he bought the domain.
So then you can't do that.
Twitter. He did all of the things.
What if he turned around and said, "I'm trademarking your name"? I mean, Bouncer's he fucking lose, because how many things are called Bouncer? But my point is that it's shady the way that he did it. And even if he did say to him, I'm going to trademark your name, he would have had to have said, but I'm going to own that trademark.
Right.
It's in my name. He would have had to agree to that, because why would it's dodgy. And for Bouncer to make it like, oh, I didn't and I haven't made anything and you can have it. But you know what you did was wrong. You know what you did.
It's the lack of accountability on that part. Do you know what I mean? So I get it in terms of like when you have an artist, you're managing someone and you're putting the time and effort. Managing is such a thankless role. That's why I try not to do that anymore. Like I used to be a manager, manage creative people and stuff, and it's just such a thankless role, and you will give your life, and sometimes they just don't give a shit. And also as well, they might not even make it anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like that time, energy, effort. Like he built his TikTok or something, do you know what I mean, to 50k or whatever kind of thing, like doing content, all this kind of stuff, you know, helping him, and also like trying to encourage him to stay out of prison. That's definitely commendable, but that's kind of like your job as a manager. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what you're supposed to do, isn't it? You have to make sure your client is in a right frame of mind, and that obviously in this day and age are pumping out content so you get followers and likes and views, etc. That's part of it. If you don't have a team covering that for you, so it's just like, I get that you're annoyed with what he's saying, and I do get what Sideman was saying. It's just like, actually a lot of you see this with a lot of artists, is that when they're breaking up with their managers or labels and stuff, they come for them basically, and they never speak well of them. And he was basically saying that, you know, but you were happy to sign the deal in the first place. Like, and I think I'm kind of 50-50 with that. Like I get it in some respects. Like I can get how like artists and talent can feel like hard done by and everything like that, because, you know, in the beginning it's always brighter and more exciting, and then you know what you think it is, and in reality it's fucking hard. It's one of the hardest things that you could ever do, like as a chosen career path. It's relentless. It's you know, it's exhausting, to be honest. And I think that, but on the other side, yeah, it's a thankless role, and you might put in all that energy, and sometimes you won't get anything back.
And maybe, and at what point did Bouncer trademark all this stuff? Because because he's realised all much effort at the beginning?
It was at the beginning.
Oh, okay. I was gonna. Okay, so she was.
So from when he was in prison, actually, when he put all of these things in place. That's why I feel for him, because I'm like, actually, you took a punt on, if I invest in this guy, I think that he could become a celebrity.
But there's ways to
perfect. Wouldn't he be the perfect candidate for manipulation though as well?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's an argument, isn't it? All right, so if I'm not saying he did, jump into like Bouncer's DMs and get him to sponsor us, is this a no?
Okay, moving on.
Do we
want to talk about?
He invest in things. I think he should invest in the answer.
He's not even going to do that. But the thing is, actually, you know what? Every relationship is different. There's no way you're going to be coming to brand up and to take.
I mean, can you imagine him trying to manipulate us? Like, be real.
I mean, come on.
Us four.
You know what? Let me not even be too cocky, because, you know, stranger things have happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
it's a different conversation.
So you never know. Do you know what I mean?
It's a different conversation with every.
But the four of us.
It's a different conversation with every different person. We could have a work with Bouncer, and it's a whole different thing, and we all get, you know, all make money, and it's all good. It's different conversation.
Bouncer.
But definitely, it would be harder to pull one over on all of us. I would like to hope.
All right, let's go.
So the fuckeries, I'm not saying. Nah, one of us is gonna say that shit.
Well, Bouncer's got money, you know.
Yeah, you see, Auntie Nana's gonna be like, I just want to be by the beach.
I don't want to get recruited.
I don't want a career. I just want to do something. So she'll give me.
I'm like, how much are you putting in, and how much am I getting?
And I'm gonna be like, nah, mate. Where's it? Let me read.
All right, let's move on. So
the career's had enough.
Yeah, it's long. And yeah, it's long. Let's meet Bouncer. Let's have a conversation, Bouncer, innit? Swiss Beats. I want to talk about verses because I finally watched the Bone Thugs and 3-6 Mafia verses, and I watched the Stephanie Mills and Shaka Khan verses. Shaka Khan was in a different planet, and Bone Thugs and 3-6 Mafia had a fight on stage. Now, Swiss Beats has recently taken to social media to say, complain about the behavior of some of the acts that have been booked for verses. He said, ain't done a show in 23 summers. I want to charge us like they sold out stadium prices. Talking about yesterday's price, not today's price shit. He's also said, talking about we're not going on stage until my homie calls from Rikers to do the prayer. And all that type of stuff. Performing drunk, coming on stage after getting paid, 10 shows in one verses just to get on stage, drunk as fuck, and later. All that type of stuff. So he's just calling everybody out for their bad behavior because everyone's now making in demands and stuff like that. So he said he's got new rules. If you don't start on time, you don't get paid on time. Versus is not free. They charge us 5 times and they do non-black shows. So there's also those kind of things behind the scenes. And I can just imagine what it would be like dealing with different acts who definitely have delusions of self-importance, who definitely think that they deserve more, who definitely have narcotical problems and alcohol problems and all sorts of problems, mental problems.
I can attest to that.
And this is the thing. So what would you do? So my question is to be a nice quick one. What would you do to ensure your verses rolls safe and in Act Smooth? What rules would you have in place on acts? And what would be your thing? Because he's putting in rules. I'm sure people are going to still have problems with it. Start calling him out and start saying this is a, capitalism and it's all sold out to the devil and it's all you corporate, and all that type of stuff. What do you think? What do you think about it in general, anyway?
I watched it and I think everything he said was absolutely fair. Like that verses for me, I thought was going to be the first verses to go absolutely left. Like when they started fighting, I was like, this is long. This isn't happening anymore. Like security's gonna come and it's gonna be like, okay, folks, go home. Like it was disgraceful, but it wasn't all of Bone Thugs, and I love Bone Thugs and Harmony. They're probably like my favorite hip hop act ever because they're like the only ones that I really, really listen to. But Busy Bones has issues in it. He's had issues for years. Like he's a liability. He showed himself to still be a liability in this day and age. He was the one that was late. He was the one that was waiting for the homie that was in prison to come.
No, actually, so to be fair, Busy Bone did come to Twitter and say, he's not talking about us. We weren't late and we didn't need anyone to wait for the Rikers Island prayer.
Who was the prayer?
They haven't, Swiss hasn't said. And the drunk thing, I mean, Auntie Shaka, I don't know what her problem was, but Auntie Shaka
I think she was on more than
it was different. Allegedly, Auntie Shaka shot. It was hilarious, but I was like, wow.
I think it was something else. That's like, she's lucky that it was with Stephanie Mills, who loves her. But I think he has to have. I think you have to go into these things with, especially when you go onto the. I guess I don't want to call them fringe artists, but they are a bit like left, like that you're bringing them in. I think there has to be real rules for them. Like you can't do this. You can't be shoddy. And if you are shoddy, I don't even think it should be that you get paid late. I think it should be you get paid less.
You get fined, or
if you're late, you get fined every 10 minutes that you're late coming to stage. Like I think that I would be up for doing something like that, because you can't keep people waiting, and you can't do shoddy shit, and you can't have a fight on stage. If you fight, you shouldn't get paid. I think that's or you get paid 20% of what I was gonna pay you because you had a fight. I think that's fair, but you can't fight. It's not okay. This is.
And you also can't turn up half cut and not do your lyrics. You can't do that either.
I mean. They know what they're getting. They know what they're paying for. At the end of the day, they know that fight will be watched how many times, we shared how many times. So although he might not like it doesn't necessarily hurt the brand properly. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
It
not
does
like
in some cases. It gets out
Think of the venues, though.
sponsorship over Busy Bone fight. Like, they're not going to lose sponsorship. That's what they expect in hip hop. They expect the feuds, the battles, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's probably like people will see it as like the most hip hop verses. It's, do you know what I mean? Like, where it's kind of going into a path of where it's getting a bit more commercial and stuff. Like, I think it gives it, not to say I agree with the fighting, but it gives it a bit more edge. Like, you don't know what you're going to get on the next one. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I think it's just so high risk. Like, for me as an event manager, I would not want this headache at all. Like, no, I'm not interested at all. Like, you can't control people like that. Like, you just can't. Like, there's no measures you can put in place where they're going to give a shit enough to actually follow them. No, they're self-destructive, I think, at that point.
I think it becomes anything like if you're booking guests for a show and you've got to understand their liabilities, what they've got, what their foibles are. And I think that comes to play. In my mind, I assume that everyone in Hollywood knows everyone's secrets. I know that's a bit naive. So I'm sure there's, people have well hidden secrets or, So I think there's like, if you're going to invite two very hood groups, then yeah, you might have to have some extra things in place. Like, okay, you guys from different ends, different states, different codes, you rep certain gangs or whatever the case is. Your long-standing beef, so you're going to get that. In hindsight or foresight, let's put some things in place to ensure that your business doesn't get damaged. And I think there is because, like you said, they get charged 5 times more. But there does come a point where it becomes too black, and they're like, "No, shut this shit down." I think, and especially the bigger they get, and the more, they've traded a lot on being with.
Sorry to interrupt, but like, it's not the UK. Like, someone will take it. Do you know what I mean? They just need to go to a different state and do it there. Like, I don't think it's not that, like, hip hop how it is. They will do it. I mean, I think he's just saying his fears, but I just don't think it's a reality. Like, it will happen. They had, from when you've had like the Source Awards and the things that happened there back in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? This is minor. Like, so
Source
minor.
Awards ended up shutting. I mean, in the did they get shut down? That's where they run out of steam. But the Source Awards has had running problems, and it's finding a venue and letting something grow and elevate out of.
No, it got shut down.
Yeah,
Source Awards got shut down.
But
like,
you just have to, like,
too
pay
violent.
the police officer, or you pay the police, you pay the state. Do you know what I mean? For it to happen, and there will always be like a demand. Like, I don't think this is.
You have to take into. I think you have to. I don't think this particular one is the one, but I think foresight. You can't. I don't think Twist and Timbaland can trade on the fact like this is hip hop. There isn't definitely a clamp on hip hop events. And I think because even with Mobos, look what Mobos has been through. It's had to go regional because of the.
Yeah, that's UK though. I don't think it's the same. That's not the same. Like, there's, like, how can I explain it? Like, in the UK, London is the place. Do you know what I mean? That's the pinnacle where you can go. Whereas in the US, it's not just Atlanta. It's New York. You know what I mean? There's more places you can go. Like, look what Kanye done to Wyoming. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can go frigging anywhere. Like, seriously, and create a buzz if you want to, or create something if you want to. And you just go where you've got a good relationship with the police or good relationship with governors, and make your event happen. Like, I think that's what people do all the time. I'm not trying to like trivialize, but I just think like this is Swiss Beats being Swiss Beats. Like, do you know what I mean? Just getting on a platform and complaining. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Because he weren't in control of the situation. Like, and he thinks it looks badly on him. But I'm telling you something, that the numbers and the metrics behind that, do you know what I mean? They're going to be eating off that 100%. They're not going to.
I get that, but then is there anything? So is it a thing where you book guests and just let it happen? So if a guest is late, there's no rules in place.
No, that's what I'm saying. Personally, I wouldn't touch.
You wouldn't find if people come on, like, they come up late. You would. Oh, you just wouldn't do it.
No way. I'm not doing this. It's crazy.
I'm just sorry.
So there are certain people that you book will get booked, and they know already that they're going to be problematic. It's factual. Like, there's no way that he wouldn't have known that Bone Thugs and Harmony have less harmony than Bone Thugs. There's no way he didn't know that. So like Auntie Sade said, he is going to be eating off of this. It's just because he wasn't able to control the situation, probably how he thought he could have controlled the situation. But with some talent, there was no controlling them. And I say that with experience. I have experienced people arriving on site, and these are not necessarily people that I've booked because I'm just a venue, and you can't control them. But the people who have booked them understand. And when you go to those people and you say to them, this is what's happening, they're like, well, there's nothing I can do. Or they do a lot of talking, but they don't have much action. When they're booking people, they really need to be understanding of the type of person that they're booking and the consequences that can happen. That could have been very, 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 very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yeah, I think they knew that as well. It all adds to it, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, and even complaining about it afterwards, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
but also I do think, you put things in place, especially about the timing.
Whether they get adhered to, I think you can put things in place the best you can.
You do, and you can put things in place because I've certainly put certain things in place, but there's only so much that's in my power because I'm not the production.
You might put things in place.
He is
because he's talking about the things that people come, maybe he hasn't thought, maybe new things have come up. He's like, okay, you know what?
It could be like, okay, he booked them a flight, they didn't get on the first flight, they had to rebook, or do you know what I mean, that kind of thing. He can't control that.
No, he can't. That's what I mean. There's certain people that you book and you know that you're not going to be able to control them because they don't adhere to the rules. So if you are gonna go ahead and you're gonna book these people, you got to be able to understand that this is how they come. You're trying to tell me that they don't have a reputation for doing this type of shit, and he didn't know. What was it a surprise to you that Bone Thugs and Harmony were late and they didn't come and all this shit? That wasn't a surprise to you. You knew, and you're going to be eating off of this. And there is most definitely an element of what Auntie Sade said. This is just Swiss being Swiss because this is what he does.
I think I'm taking away the person because I don't really know his annoying personality. Well, actually, I'm saying that, and I do, but I do think that there's an element where you don't know. I don't know what he knows, what he doesn't know, and I think there could be an element of you think someone's going to respect your thing and not disrespect your event that you put on, and be more grateful that this is what's happening and I'm bringing into the limelight. So you could be taken by surprise by certain behaviors, and I guess my thought is, what do you put in place? Because I think, to be fair, if you're going to complain, then you have to have higher consequences so people actually really take into account, like, you know what, if I come and do these type of things, I'm going to lose my bag. That's what it has to be. You can't just come to social media and start complaining, because you then have to be follow through and have things where people actually will feel a loss if they come and do nonsense, because it's also disrespecting something that someone's putting on to bring you out of the depths of obscurity when no one's even buying your records or even listened to you for 20 years, and then you've come. So I think there's an element of that you can think like that. It's just whether or not it will work for you. But I definitely think you have every right, if you've got a brand, and people to respect your thing as well. Because there's an element from what he's saying. It's not just about that. It's also in general people thinking that they can demand more money, which you can do that and all that type of stuff. It's similar to whether when what's her name, Monique, believed that Netflix should pay her more, and other people were like, well, boy, are you as bankable as Dave Chappelle? There's that type of conversation where there's some people, and I'm not taking sides on this Monique thing, but bringing it away from that, from some obscure artists with delusions of grandeur, where I should be paid 50 million, whereas really no, and you're taking a pick because you know that I'm making money off of verses. I think there's rights to be put things in place, like, don't disrespect my thing either, because you're actually disrespecting me by turning up late and drunk and doing those things, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I have a hard time believing that he would be unaware of this. Like, I just don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I understand that.
He doesn't know personally. His team knows. Whoever's putting on the event, they would know. The booker would know. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like,
the venue would know.
And if they don't know, they're super incompetent. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're super incompetent. Like, that would just be insane. But I just don't. I don't know. Personally, like I said, I wouldn't touch it. This is great. It's just crazy. And also as well, it depends how artists, like when you're saying about pay, it kind of depends how artists get paid. Not all artists get paid after the fact. Do you know what I mean?
Cool.
They don't all get, sometimes they get 50% up front, sometimes they get 100% up front. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They might get it in a bag of cash, like when they step on stage. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. That kind of thing. You don't even know if the managers warned them and said, you know what, this guy is unstable at the moment, and they said we want him anyway because it's Bone Thugs. That could happen too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I think there's definitely scenarios. I think definitely when you're thinking about it, as you're saying, you wouldn't do it. But I'm thinking if I would do it, then maybe there's some things that I would think about. And I would
also as well, versus doesn't work unless you have people
rivalry.
that the audiences want to see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I probably would have watched Bone Thugs. I didn't catch it because I would want to see that. You know, like I wanted to see Monica and Brandy. Like I wanted to see, what was the other one that I really watched? I can't remember. But like there are key ones that I want to see. If they didn't have those people, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So they need, it's a two-way thing.
I definitely think the two-way thing is like, I think there's an element where artists also respect the brand, isn't it? I think there's that. You have every right to say, have a conversation, whether it's Swiss Beats or if it's us doing something and you're like, you're disrespecting me thinking that you could just come on and just disrespect my brand, what I've built up as well. I think that's where I'm coming from, and that type of, what's that conversation? How do you shape that?
And I do like, obviously we don't know, but that even itself works two-way. Are they respecting?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Who knows what went down for them to even get to that point? Because it's even, I don't know. There's just so many things. There's just so many freaking things. They could have got to the room and their rider wasn't there. They had to buy their own drinks. They'll be pissed off. Do you know what I mean? Like so many things could happen. You know?
Do we want to talk about Love Island?
Tristan, please.
No,
Tristan Thompson. Okay. It's just quickly.
Just quickly. Does anybody feel sorry for Khloe?
Yeah, I do. Because no one wants to have a baby with somebody and they fuck out on you, and then you take them back because you still love them and you have a child with them, and then they fuck out on you again. So yeah, I feel sorry for her. Is she an idiot? Probably. But a lot of people can be in those situations. So yeah, I feel sorry for her. I think he's a fucking world-class prick, but I do feel sorry for her. And also the baby's been born now. It was a little boy, apparently. Yeah. So, I do feel sorry for her. We can all sit here and say she shouldn't have taken him back. But a lot of people, when they have kids with someone who they maybe know isn't right for them, will try because they have this idea in their head of, I must stay with the father of my child. I must stay with the mother of my child, despite all the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations and the fact that we are just not right for each other. They stay with them. So that's what she did.
I think my it's not, I feel sorry. I feel like if it was my friend, which I know that people have been in this situation, it'd be like I'll be a sympathetic shoulder. But I wouldn't be like, if I put it in that situation, yes, it's not a great thing, and you can't. Women been done over so many times by wayward guys and wayward dicks. It just depends on if she doubled down, because there does come a point when you're like, girl, your man's annoying or rubbish. I keep telling you, why are you sticking around with them? And so then there's an element, you lose empathy, you lose sympathy for that person when you've kind of told them, and they're being hard ears. And I don't know Khloe to know whether she's hard ears or she genuinely was in a state of disarray and forlornness and thought, I can make it work with this man and I have to have him. So I don't know Khloe like that. But I know in a friend situation, it's either I told them, they refused to listen, or they literally were like so headstrong, falling in love, and they just didn't know their way out. They couldn't find their way out and they got done over again. As for Tristan, I mean, this is just a sensational headline. You offered someone $75K to keep quiet about her pregnancy. To keep quiet, how does that even work?
No, that was like 75 to have an abortion.
Yeah.
Oh, it says to keep quiet. Oh, okay. It just, the headline on the Sun says $75K to keep quiet about her pregnancy.
It was literally like I will give you 75 grand. You get rid of this baby, and because this is what I'm giving you. So if you have this baby, I'm not giving you anything, or I'm going to give you the state warranted
in the article, it says the paperwork states that you are aware that I'm retiring after this season. So in terms of support, it will be whatever is required monthly for someone who's unemployed. It's Texas, so it'll only be a couple of $100. So you're better off taking this 75K I'm offering, because you won't get nothing near that with having a kid with a father who's unemployed. So it's with the baby in mind.
I still don't get how you got that. No, I was getting.
That's the quote. That's what I'm saying.
Money. I'm going to give you 75, and you don't have the child.
No, well, this is basically, it was in a note. Basically, that's a legal document about why he's offering the 75K. I mean, I get that it could be to have an abortion, but in this, it's laid out as in take this 75k because getting it from me when I'm unemployed, you're not going to get as much. So this 75k will be better for you.
Yes,
you're not going to get decent
portion because of what? Because if you have the baby, you're not going to get any money.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I took that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took it like don't have the child, but I don't feel sorry for her because he was with the girl that
that's touch and go, and that's what people say.
He left her for Khloe and she was pregnant.
I don't that's been disproven though. That has been disproven.
The girl wasn't pregnant. Or they weren't together.
The timeline, yeah, that's been disproven. So that's what people fling when they fling the mud. And I'm not saying that Khloe is innocent in everything, but that's been disproven.
So I think that I'm not. The reasons why I don't feel sorry for Khloe is because number one, she lied about her fertility situation with Lamar, so she's a proven liar about a very serious thing. So I will never. This is my opinion. I will never personally forgive her for that level of deceit that she done on national television. And also the way she handled Jordan, because she went for Jordan's throat, who was young at the time. She offered her no sympathy whatsoever kind of thing and was happy to have people come for her neck. And so now I'm just like, okay, Khloe, okay, you made a stupid decision. Okay, cool. I can't feel sorry for you, babe. I can't feel sorry for you because when the shoe's on the other foot with other people, you let people go to the wall. So fuck you, innit? That's the
okay. Just to come back on that, because you know I'm going to come back on that. I won't have a baby with a fucking crackhead either. And I am going to lie on fucking national television.
No, but you don't have to lie like that.
I'm not going to have a baby with a crackhead.
You don't have to lie. You don't have to lie.
She lied to him, and they were being filmed and all of that stuff.
National television, like she doesn't know. That's going to go out to
hundreds of millions of people. I'm not saying that she didn't, but I understand. She did know, and I'm not saying that she didn't.
The whole
as I was saying, I'm not having a fucking baby with a fucking crackhead.
You don't have to. She didn't.
And if I'm in the middle of filming and I discovered that my man is a crackhead and he's using the man cave,
first thing is like, oh yeah, okay, I can't have kids.
And he wants to have a baby. I'm not going to have a baby, but I love him because he's my fucking husband. I think we trivialize like emotion sometimes.
No, we're trivializing a lie.
No, I'm not trivializing a lie. I'm not trivializing a lie.
Big club.
I'm not trivializing the lie. I said I wouldn't have a crackhead husband telling me to let's have a baby, I'd make up an excuse husband too. Because I'm not having a husband for my crackhead baby. I said previously, she made her bed, she has to lie in it, right? She has to lie in her bed. She chose that bed. The Jordan situation, I cannot say that if my niece's best friend, who I have raised as like as another niece and has been around me, and then she's gone and done that with my baby father, I cannot say that I'm just going to be with you. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably come to her with more vim. This is my opinion. I'd probably come to her with more vim because for me, I treated you like family, and I like me and you, like I've rode with you like family. You mean so much to me, and then you did this. And then there's an element of the prickness with this dude, and I'm not excusing her, as I said before.
Your baby father.
What's that?
More family than your baby father.
No, I didn't say that. And if you remember at the start, she wasn't taken back Tristan. She was more angry with Jordan. If you remember at the start, she wasn't taking back Tristan.
She was more angry with Jordan, but look at her now. This is what I'm saying. So
and I'm saying, we're talking about why she's angry with Jordan.
She's a liar. She tried to go for Jordan because she thought that she was...
Okay, so Charlotte, you're telling me, you're honestly going to
step in.
Wait, one of
so basically,
you know this is all I know.
For the Smiths being this popular, because if the Smiths didn't jump in to save Jordan, they would not have this kind of
in the first place. You cannot excuse people are backing Jordan for the shit because she's a black girl. That's why people are backing her. Jordan is a little bitch who should not have done that to Khloe. I don't care what color your skin is. She shouldn't have done it.
Wow.
She shouldn't have fucking done it. I don't give a fucking fuck. She should not have done it. You cannot tell me that your niece's friends, who you say are like nieces to you, who you know like your family. If you had a man who you had a child with, and they knew that you got a child with this man, and they did this to you, you cannot tell me that you wouldn't come with them with all the fucking
I think Khloe knew about Tristan's misgivings already.
I'm not. Listen, you are blending situations. About how Jordan, the reaction with Jordan. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Khloe's an idiot because Tristan.
And I think that black women,
young ones, on one side. Tristan has. I am not. Just because you're a black woman doesn't make what you did right, wrong, or right.
No, I'm not saying that.
She was another person, and she was 21. We've sat here before, and we've said that people at 21 years old, they know what they're doing. So we can't sit here now and say that that's not the case because we want to defend one against the other. You cannot tell me.
Pause. Can I insert? Right. So remember when Khloe was pregnant with True, there was 2 girls that we saw footage of having an affair with Tristan. That happened while she was pregnant. That went forward. So you already know this dude is a bit of a shithead. Mm-hmm. The previous girlfriend, it literally is it's 10 months apart from the 2 kids. From his son with the girl who says, I was with him when he got with Khloe. It's 10 months apart, those 2 kids. So, you know, he has a dubious...
It's not 2 kids. It's not 10 months apart for the 2 kids. It's not.
That's what I just said.
The age gap is not 10 months.
Okay, all right. So we can discount that, but they're close in age.
But can I just say something to you? Because I know where you're going with this. Khloe knew that Tristan's a shithead. I'm not saying that. That's all I'm saying. But listen, I am not saying.
Let me finish my point. All right. So Khloe knows this dude has a history of serially cheating. Just on her. So forget the girl before, just on her. You're pregnant. He cheated twice. That's come out. Now, I wouldn't put it past somebody that's going to cheat on me when I'm pregnant to then be chatting to friends and literally trying to cheat on me with my friends. I understand her vexation with Jordan because it's like, we all know this is Tristan. He cheated on me when I was pregnant and now he's coming to you. She's saying she was drunk, but he's come to her. I think the vim that she had for Jordan is not warranted when this man has cheated on you when you was pregnant. He should clearly be your target of he's a shithead than you coming for Jordan. Really?
What I'm saying to you is, and this is the point that I'm trying to make, and I think it's getting misconstrued in all of this, right? I am under no circumstances at all am I saying that Khloe shouldn't have known about Tristan. I'm not saying that Tristan shouldn't have received all the fire that she had to give him. I am not saying that. However, what I am saying is this. The vim that she gave to Jordan as a person that she loved, as a person that she considered family, that was warranted. And I tell you why. You don't do that. You don't do that to somebody who is your family. And all of the excuses of you were drunk. Why did you go there in the first place? Like you said, you know about Tristan because you're here. Why did you sit on his lap? Like you said, there's things that why didn't you tell Kylie when you got home what had happened? There are things that she is to blame with as well. Khloe deserves to have the respect of the person who and the relationship that she had with her. I am not saying, and I've never not said that she shouldn't have fucking put pepper in Tristan's skin too. She should have. But and she's a dickhead for taking him back. I've never not said that.
But she didn't.
People want to go on like Khloe should not have had no vim for Jordan whatsoever. We only see.
But she was public with Jordan, and she wasn't. Vim was not public with Tristan, and that
was because for me, I'll tell you what. You see what? You see like if a Khloe or someone super listen to me, hear me out. Someone super close to me, right? Did something with my man, and I consider that person my family, my heart, my love, my little sister, whoever the fuck it is to me.
And how do we know that they're so close as you claim?
Okay, I'm done. I'm out.
Visually, they
I'm
did
out.
look like they were close.
Okay, because that's Kylie's friend. I don't know.
No, because like Khloe is always like Kylie was like her daughter. Like literally, it was like Khloe had that relationship with Kylie.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm literally going on the show. She did kind of have like those two are my little sisters. She definitely did. They showed that.
You know what? In all of this,
I'm saying that's on the show. I don't know, but that's what they showed, that she embraced Jordan like that was my little sister. Before it all happened, she kind of went on like that.
But what's commonplace with women, as we well know, is that women tend to blame the other woman more than the man, and I think that's the part.
Because but you're getting twisted. What I'm trying to say. In ordinary circumstances, I would definitely agree that.
You're not saying your point though.
I'm talking about the family scenario.
I was going to say that even though it's family, I still think the same thing applies. And I think for me personally, like I'm being very quiet because I don't watch the Kardashians to the extent where I know their ins and outs. So I can't have an opinion that's not informed by social media and headlines. So, but the only thing I saw was less fire for Tristan, which shows that Khloe was in love with Tristan and still wasn't ready to let him go. So she redirected her frustration to Jordan, but it was more and more public. And I think there's an element of, yes, family and friends and closeness and stuff like that comes into it. But I do think women tend to take out their frustration, especially if they're not ready to let go of the man, on the woman, because the woman's an easy target. And I think that applies. I think she has every right to cuss out Jaws, but I think also if it's someone that you treat as family and you see as family, why are you so open to throwing them to the walls? Because then essentially she got caught up in a nonsense, which women do, and I'm not excusing it. But if you're talking about this as your family member, someone you see as family and blood, and you're hurt, why do you want them to be vilified by the world? Why wouldn't you take on the big sister role and be like, you did something fucked? Because I wouldn't expect to be honest, if you're talking about me and you as friends, I wouldn't expect you to throw me to the walls in public. I'd expect you to have me up.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. And if I'm hurting and my soul is hurting, I'm coming for you, because I expect more from you. Because to me, you're my family.
No, I get that. But I would be like,
you've been there. I expect more from you. And that is not to say that I'm not coming for him too, because women too often blame one person and don't blame the other. And I totally agree with you, all of you there. That's what it seems like. But it's just this thing of Jordan shouldn't have had any, like, she should have taken it all.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying
as well as
Tristan had something, but it was more than Tristan. And and concludes the reason why I have no sympathy for Khloe at all.
No, I get that. Like I said, she made her bed in it. That's that side. She definitely made her bed. What did you expect? It's them ones there. And with your brethren, that's what you're gonna say to them.
What's that guy does?
Yeah. What did you expect? You know, like they often think, what did we say? We said this about Summer as well. Summer Walker.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you're the next babe. Like, stop chatting about the others. Like, you think that it's gonna be different. It's not gonna be different. It's not gonna be different. My only thing is the Jordan scenario, because it's like I can understand why she came for her. I can get it. Because I'm coming.
I get what she came for. I just think she went.
I'm coming for you.
There's an element of looking at family.
I thought me and you was like blood. I'm coming for you. You fucked me over differently. Our relationship is different. You shouldn't just be like, oh, babe, don't worry, it's fine. No.
I don't think it should be that at all. But I just think it's very easily discarded, the friendship, that the family, that she's, the familial ties that there was so weighted upon.
And I get that. And I say that having had friends that have done less than that to my family, and we're not the same no more. And
I don't expect the same either. It's just because I think I definitely would have to. I think my ego and pride. If I'm going to come for the girl, I'm going to make sure everyone sees me come for the man. I'm not going to let it look like the girl is getting more vim, because I'm the one who ends up looking like an idiot. Because this is where we're at. I think.
Yeah.
But anyway,
she should have left that dirty dog to the side. Is what she should have done. But
I mean,
she got caught up in that. I need to be with my baby father shit, innit?
Yeah, she wanted a second child. That may still happen.
She doesn't need him, just a few of his best swimmers.
She doesn't need to have any of it.
People just want the same guy, innit?
But that's what I said at the very beginning. That's what I said at the very beginning. A lot of times
Courtney.
people have this idea of like what they're gonna have when they have children. Like I want all my children to be from one seed, from one land.
They're perpetuating that nonsense as well.
What's that?
They're perpetuating that false
No,
narrative as
listen,
well.
I agree with you because
So they're
what
going to
is that?
suffer. They're going to suffer.
Right. Because the thing is as well about that is like all your siblings aren't from the same, and you lot are close. So what does it mean? Like, you know, what does it mean? There's ways that you can have a different type of family nowadays. You don't need to all come from the same dude.
Okay.
Let's get the comments.
So, hold on one second. I need to scroll down a little bit.
We need scrolling music.
Nee says, Auntie AK sex sound is concerning. I really hope you don't do that in the bedroom.
Yeah, man, there's so much pineapple if you do that.
That literally is
that the sound
when pigeons are trying to mate. That is the sound that they make.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
It's awful.
Okay.
No, I don't like it. Stop.
Ronald says Shaka Khan has appeared intoxicated before. Stephanie Mills had to be upset. She used to complain about not having a versus. She really looked forward to this. And Candy says Auntie Shaka has had substance issues for many years, so I don't know why people were so surprised by her appearance that night. Candy says I'm with you, Auntie Farah. Ronald says it's always the seemingly lightweight for the culture topics that turn into the deepest and most heated and most interesting discussions. Don't you?
It's actually
Don't
true.
you just love
it? Candy says those sisters seem to keep toxic men around them in order to have more babies with more babies, all with the same father.
Yeah.
I think Khloe wanted another baby by him. Yeah,
she did.
Yeah, because Courtney kept Scott way too long.
Yeah,
like after the money shoving in the mouth scenarios, and you know.
Honestly, Khloe will have another child with this man, you know.
I wouldn't put it past her at all.
Yeah,
she's probably got some in the bank somewhere.
These are the cultural icons of the 21st century.
Your cultural icons.
I don't watch that show. Never have.
What? Not one episode?
Nope.
Really?
Oh, I'm gonna force
not beginning to end.
You have to watch one.
If I've got to watch certain things, then you've got to watch.
Yeah, you got to watch the episode of the Kardashians.
Watches the Kardashians.
Why?
I want a good episode.
Why not?
No, because I want to hear your commentary. Oh my god, it would be so funny.
That would be hilarious.
I think you need to. If
My
I
life
haven't
is
watched
so
certain things, but you're saying all the things that I say about things that you want me to watch. So therefore,
this is brainwashing.
Yeah, but so some of the things that you want me to watch.
Like what?
Oh, everything.
Like what?
Game of Thrones. Game of blood clot incest.
No, my thing is like they'll be good and we'll like them, but if you don't like them, I've given up asking now. But Kardashians have never. I don't like reality shows as well, so that's my thing as well.
Anyway,
all right, we are almost at 3 hours.
I was just going to say.
I just want to say quickly, just before we leave, I did like all the internet reaction to not our Kaz.
Yeah,
that was actually
So Love Island, the girl that got caught doing illegal activities, her name is Kaz, and the headlines were Kaz from Love Island gets caught doing illegal activities, and then Twitter, Instagram all went mad, and then people were like, it's all right, it's not our Kaz. You need to say who you mean. It's not our Kaz. Everyone calm down. It's not our Kaz.
Yeah.
What is that? What is there?
R as in black.
Because it wasn't Kaz. It wasn't Black Kaz.
No.
Oh, okay.
That just made me laugh. And I don't even watch the show, but I found that quite funny. Not our
basically
Kaz.
because Auntie AK's in Ghana, it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't mean anything to me. I know, I remember that feeling when I was in Ghana, and it's like our news was like, yeah, okay.
No, it's literally because it's Love Island. You know, again, another show. I'm like, why?
But I didn't watch it, but I found that quite funny. Not our Kaz.
I just didn't even know who Kaz. Like literally, everyone.
But you need to watch Love Island though. This is
no one needs to watch that. But you know, like when the crime gets committed,
it's so funny.
And the first thing you do is like you say,
yeah.
and you find that they're not
Yeah.
black, and you're like, phew, they're not black. It's not
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, no,
I get
it's
that.
Yeah, it wasn't black Kaz, it was
Yeah.
other Kaz.
yeah.
Thank you
Who's
for
an
clarifying
escort.
that. Okay, so what's made you sad, mad, and glad, Auntie Sade?
So sad. Nick Cannon's and is it Alyssa Scott's son? Their baby son passed away. I think, just recently
Yeah.
due to a brain tumor. So that's really, really, really sad. And there was also like a young boy. I feel like his name was Sylvester. He was getting bullied by his classmates, and he passed away as well. So that was really, really sad. Like kids obviously dying. It's just like, oh, can't handle it. It's very upsetting. I was mad at the news story that some Muslim students were forced by their teacher to pray outside in the UK, and I just things like that just rage. Like serious, it's just so out of order. And they did pray anyway, but they shouldn't have to be forced to do that at all. And it's just like, when people say that the UK isn't racist, and it's just like another example again. And then I'm glad because the countdown to Christmas, I really like Christmas, and I'm happy it's coming and we're not that far away and stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy. And then also I've been watching Selling Sunset, which I absolutely love as
Really?
a show.
Okay.
And
My mum
he's
loves
really
that show.
great.
I've watched a couple of those. I haven't watched it like properly.
Yeah,
No.
no, I just stumble upon it, but I haven't watched it properly.
Oh,
It's
it's so good. Yeah,
Okay.
I love it. I love it because it's like a different type of reality. Like they're all a bit batshit. Do you know what I mean? But they do literally genuinely have a business, and they sell like high-end properties, man, and it's pretty cool. I was always into things like grand designs as well growing up, so like I like seeing like really luxury properties and stuff, and like how they're and I like that side of the business, so yeah, it's cool.
I was sad because we sent off my mother-in-law last week to the lovely send-off. That was very sad. And actually today, being in Ghana and just having little thoughts is just, the grieving process. That's been very sad. Mad about the African blacklist, travel list. That's annoying. And the Muslim students, again, racism in its finest, or its worst. I don't even know what it is. And I'm absolutely, obviously, extremely, 100%, thousandly glad that I'm in Ghana right now. Apart from everything, it's just been nice to switch off because it's been a tough month. And I haven't been here for 15 years, so it's reconnecting to my home. It's nice. It's just nice. So I'm glad I'm in Ghana. Auntie Farah.
Sorry, I missed that whole glad bit. Cut out. So my sad, mad, and glad is kind of like rolled up into one thing. So Auntie Nana spoke about her earlier on, and I am. Oh, it's just gone out of my screen. So I am glad, but sad that the situation occurred, and mad that the situation occurred. That the two officers who shared pictures of the murdered sisters Bieber Henry and Nicholas Mormon have been found guilty of gross misconduct, and that they are serving 2 years in jail or been sent. Let's rephrase that. They've been sentenced to 2 years. They won't serve 2 years, but they've been sentenced to 2 years. So, and they've been fired. So I'm very mad that they fucking did that, and it at this utterly, completely sad situation. But I'm glad that they are being, punished. I'm also very glad at the fan who I saw, our fan, at the event the other day. At Women in Film and TV. I forgot your name. I'm so sorry. We're going to post your picture though on our socials, so have a look. But I've forgotten your name, but you should be listening, so you know who you are. It was so nice to meet you. Hi. So that made me very, very glad that she came up to me and she was like, "Are you one of the aunties?" And I was like, "I am." Oh my God. Out here being recognized. And she says she loves the show and she listens and she comments. So come in.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Auntie Nana.
Okay. Sorry. So my sad this week is the passing of Marvin Morgan, who was the owner of Fresh Ego, and he passed at 38. We don't know how he passed or why at the moment. But yeah, just as a brand, I really admired his marketing strategies. And I remember the first time going over to Melvin O'Dooms, and he had a whole kit from Fresh Ego, and being like, man, when I get some money together, this is what I'm going to do with celebs. I'm going to give them like a box of goods. And yeah, I just really like admired his trajectory. So it was really sad seeing that he had passed. Again, I was mad at seeing the pictures of the Muslim kids outside praying. I was like, that's absolutely disgusting. Because even if they're in a classroom that is flooding or whatever, and the teacher is like, you need to leave, there should be other spaces where these kids can pray, and it shouldn't be in a wet playground. I found that so demeaning, and I was like, that's disgusting. So yeah, that made me vex. And I'm super glad that I got to spend an evening with the whole family for my niece Dava's birthday, and my brother's. It's a joint, they're like 2 days apart, so they had a birthday together. But it was really nice just spending time with my mum and my sisters and my brother and my sister-in-law and my niece. It was a lovely evening, so I'm glad for that.
Nice. Auntie Farah, what's your unpopular opinion?
No, it's hit list. So my hit list, funnily enough, leads on from you guys mad. On my hit list is that fucking school that made the students go outside to pray, because fuck you. You are trying to tell me in the whole entire big school you can't make a space for these students. That's bullshit. Even if you told them to go into the kitchen, there are
exactly
you could have taken them. In all facilities, even if you don't have a prayer room, you can make a space. So fuck you. You're on my hit list.
Yeah.
And on that note, have we got any last comments before we move on?
Yes. So Ronald says, my sad is hearing about Sade's childhood traumas. My mad is that no one rescued her, and I'm glad that she rescued herself in this fire. And that's very sweet. Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. And Candice has asked, are any of us watching Harlem?
I started.
I finished it in a day.
I've got a story about this shit.
I watch things. I finished it.
I watched half of it. I'm not sure about it yet.
I was like that.
Is it a good watch?
Is it good? No, my flipping Amazon. You know what? Yeah, these flipping apps that won't allow you to just log in from other computers is pissing me off. So Amazon Prime is kicked me out of one of the computers at my workshop, which I use to watch stuff because I need one for processing orders and stuff like that. And it won't let me in without like going through hoops. And at this moment now we're saying I got to call up Amazon customer service to get it working. That's a bullshit. Who has time to do that? But I may have to do it because I hear Harlem is really good. But I really wanted to watch it today, and I will watch it soon. But yeah, I don't like that Auntie Farah has watched it and completed it already.
I watch things. I watched that. I've watched Lost in Space.
Come on, you watch nothing. This is I'm feeling like a failure.
These rumors. I just might not watch the shit that you lot be watching, but I be watching things. I finished Lost in Space. I finished what's this thing that Harlem? I've watched it. I've completed it.
Next week, can we all do a review?
You finished Lost in Space?
I finished it. I watched it in like 2 days.
Okay, I'll watch that. Is it a downer though? I wanted to watch something.
Oh, it's nice. It's no. Oh well, no. You're gonna be. There's parts in Lost in Space where you're like, oh.
Okay.
Don't watch that. If you want something up.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want something up, don't watch that.
Yeah.
And Harlem, once you've all watched it, I'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Nana, do you want to do that last comment?
Yes. So my son Judger said his sad is that my mum didn't mention that we were at Uncle Yao's too. Well, I did say that I spent time with the family, but whatever. But yeah, the boys were there and my husband was there at the family gathering at my brother Yao's house. The Muslim children praying outside, and glad he got to see his cousin Dava, which is my niece.
I'm mad at Auntie Nana and her husband for making those children be up at this time and hear me swear. So sorry, kids. It is an adult show.
You know what they were watching? They were watching you and Sade's back and forth. That's what that literally when I went to the toilet, they were there like, ooh.
That's quality TV. I like Auntie Sade. This is what is going to get us the Emmy.
They were so excited. They're so my kids.
Don't worry,
the fire's only opinions. The love is
don't worry, we're friends. We are friends. It's just fans.
It's fans, man. And sometimes you don't always agree with your friends.
Exactly, and that's okay.
This is why,
and that's okay.
and this is why women fight to have children with the same baby father, because we're all from different fathers, and obviously there's dissension in the team.
You really like when someone just ruins the moment?
Oh, I calm down. I just see it differently.
You know,
I think this is our longest episode. We are now on 3 hours and almost 10 minutes.
I think we've done longer than this before, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that's it then. Anyway, that's
There's no way to they're eating mangoes and sitting on the veranda. Surprised you even call it that and not call it something different.
Oh no, are you trying to say that us Africans have like crazy words?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about her. Don't try it. Let's not do that, Auntie Nana. Okay.
You know, I want to keep the beef going. I want to keep the beef going. It was fun.
That was your Aunties Good Over episode 88. Thank you for listening, watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're on all listening platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter and Instagram. Do all of that stuff. And we'll be back next week at 5, possibly 6. Let's just see. Take care.
Laters.
Bye.
Shit,